about
Everybody
making.
in here is
No one's offended.
everybody in here
It's because he's not making any sense right now. It's like
I just told you my reasoning.
But you
but
notice,
those reasons don't make any sense though, man.
Notice that as soon as I said that, everyone.
Because Manny, I have the answer. Like for some odd reason, they all feel attached to this game, and the fact that Adam doesn't like it annoys them.
No, he doesn't. You guys aren't understanding. His reasons don't make any sense. It's his reasons don't make any sense. That's all I'm
It's my
saying.
own reason, though. It's my.
But your reasons don't make any sense.
You were like, "Oh yeah, it's like every other sandbox." That's what you said, and I was like, "Yeah, and that's not what I was expecting from."
So what were you expecting then?
I was expecting something more like it's in its own world. That it was more. I don't
Like
know,
Web of Shadows?
just not all of the same.
Like
shit.
Shattered Dimensions, my nigga?
No, just going in. It's like, oh, now you got to go do Harry stuff and clean pollution. And oh, guess what? Black Cat put these little.
That's a
Yeah,
DLC.
they're called collectibles. Every open world game has those, man.
No, collectibles is fine when you gotta find the backpacks. But then it's like, oh, now you gotta go find stuff for her. I don't give a shit about
Then
her.
you don't have to do it, man.
Exactly. But why is that? That's not even fun when I did do some of those. So I'm like, it's just filler. That's what I'm saying. It's like some of the filler. I like going around the world. I like swinging. Swinging is fun. Doing all that stuff is fun. It's a fun game. But that's it. It's just a fun game.
Interesting.
So some of that stuff will serve a greater purpose later, because pretty sure there will be a sequel.
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of setup. There was way more setup in this than it was in God of War.
I'm sure. Why not? I mean, it's just no different than their movies. You know, they have the rights and they make the movies and they make the game. So I'm surprised. I'm not surprised. And it's a good game. It deserves a sequel. It deserves 4 or 5. I don't know. Put on Game Boy. I don't give a shit. It's a good game. It's a good game. But, you know, I was like, oh, okay. It is what it is. It gets an 8 for me. An 8.
Oh, Adam, careful.
You know, God of War 10.
It's at 9.
10.5.
Jesus Christ.
10.5.
Okay, I got 7 here. The problem that I was hearing going on was yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, Adam has criticisms about the game, and I do this when I quote unquote negotiate with tattoos all the time. Like, okay, it's criticism about the game. He's sharing it in a way that he knows how and the way that makes sense to him. But anytime you're talking about things like art or something subjective, terminology changes. So, like, basically what I'm hearing is he thinks the game is falling prey to a lot of the generic open world tropes that many open world games
I want to hear the same energy when you on Call of Duty got guns and shit, because just like every other FPS game, you know what I'm saying? You gotta complain about that too.
Yo, man, y'all sound like it's taking it personal.
I'm not. No one's taking it personal. I'm just saying it's inconsistent.
I want to see you. I want to see you.
I just want to see that same energy. That's all I'm saying. Ain't nobody mad. I'm just saying, man. Like you can't be.
I don't like this new one. I don't like what they're doing.
Like, hey, this game got guns in it. It's like, really, bro? That's what you get, man.
It's just, I don't know. I mean, again, I haven't played the game, and it's just hilarious to me. Like, as soon as he says something that may sound a little bit negative, everybody goes,
it's not negative. It's the inconsistency. That's all I'm saying.
What do you mean inconsistency? What other one did I say?
Oh my god! I just explained this to everybody.
Okay, go ahead.
Tony,
I didn't hear it.
What one side doesn't understand the criticisms because you're talking about art and that communication is difficult, so you kind of have to build a bridge to it. The other side thinks that they're explaining it fine. So you have Adam here who basically says, I feel this way about the game, floats what Tony and everybody else feels like is an incomplete thought, so therefore they feel it's an incomplete criticism. They react to it, and initial party and onlookers say, why is everybody jumping on his throat because he doesn't like it? They feel like his criticisms are unjustified because they haven't been adequately communicated. You can circumvent this whole thing by just asking Adam to explain what he means by these things, as opposed to
like I don't. Okay, go ahead.
I don't know why people are saying people are getting upset.
No one's upset. I'm chilling.
Yeah,
I just want an explanation.
It just sounds like all I know is that as soon as Adam says something a little bit that's his opinion, everybody just ignites in here.
Nobody ignited though. Everybody was fine.
You all did. You said it's inconsistent.
It is inconsistent.
I didn't like Wildlands either.
Yeah, then you got the platinum. You love that shit.
Yeah,
that's your game of the
because
year.
I was already playing it. I told you, damn, no one listened. I told you, I said I already got it that far, so I had to go through it. But I still wasn't one of my favorites. The only game that I consider my favorite for the past 2-3 years is The Division.
Adam,
that's it.
I got a question for you though. Okay, so I understand that you feel it falls prey to a lot of these generic open world tropes. My question is, Spider-Man being in an open world, like how would you resolve these tropes to not be as cliche as they are? Like the towers that unlock the map, like that almost
the towers. It could have been done a different way. The whole twirly thing really bothered me because then it's like, damn, we've all played Assassin's Creed games, so that's
no, I haven't. I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game in my goddamn life.
It's a fun one. So what happens is when you go to do towers, right? When you sit on the perch there, it does the same 360 view to show you. Okay, maybe the first time, but every single time now it does the same thing. You can't. It just still it does.
I press circle every single time.
Yeah, so you don't turn for me. You don't want to see it. So you don't want to see it. Okay.
No, because I don't see it in Assassin's Creed because I haven't played Assassin's Creed.
It's not showing anything.
It's not showing anything. Press circle, my nigga.
It's doing the same. All right, you see? There you talking about. You don't like it? I don't give a shit. Fuck it. You love it. I don't care then. Because obviously you don't want to hear my point, so I'm not even gonna bother.
I do.
It just sounds like.
Did you like?
It can easily be solved by just pressing a button.
There you go. All right, there you go. Good. Congrats. There you go. Next. I'm done.
Damn.
Wow.
Well, I mean, because again, like it just seems like like as
playing handball against the wall.
Yeah, as soon as he says the criticism out, somebody's already jumping it down his throat. Come on, guys. Seriously.
I wouldn't jump down his throat when it's so easily. You could just press a button and solve it. Why would you complain about something?
Whatever. That was the first part.
What? They give you the option to see it, or they give you the option not to see it. What's the problem with that?
In here.
That's not an offense. I don't care about it.
Wait. Riku, can I ask you a question? What do you think that Adam's complaint with the game is?
That is just like every other open world or sandbox game.
Also, in which aspects?
Those aspects that he just explained.
Which are?
He needs to explain that. It's not up to Riku to explain. It's up to Adam to explain.
No, because I want to see what Riku understands about what Adam is saying. Because if Riku can, say what the issues that Adam is saying, then it means that they understand each other. Whereas if Riku is not saying the same stuff that Adam is saying, then there's a misunderstanding. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Because I think that there is a misunderstanding between what Adam is saying.
Well, I'm not keeping track of every single little critique he has, but every time he brings one up, I'm like, okay, well, that can easily be solved by right here. So I'm not keeping track of all of the things he's saying. But
what was the last critique he said? Out of interest.
I just told you the twirling thing. Just press circle. It's over.
Okay. How about the one with the towers? Because to me, that is what he was getting at when he was saying that this game reminds him somewhat of Assassin's Creed in that it has towers to unlock areas off the map.
You don't unlock areas with the towers.
Which is a very common thing in most open world games. Not all, because Mafia 3 didn't have that, GTA doesn't have that, and Witcher 3 doesn't have that. So
you compare open world to sandbox though.
We can go like this for hours on end. Either way, what he's trying to say is that this is a trope that is in AC games, or even go as far as saying Ubisoft games, because that's what they do, and that's what he found in Spider-Man. Is he wrong or is he right? I don't know. I'm just asking.
No, he's right.
Yeah, and then why can't that be his gripe? In that he doesn't like that.
Because it's not like they did anything wrong.
Wait, but what I don't understand, and this is actually,
I don't think that should be a con, especially if they refined it so well. You're acting like when they did take this trope, they did it wrong. If they did it badly,
they didn't do anything different. It's the same.
Okay, but it's not worse.
Okay,
it's not worse, but it's not original. That's what I'm saying. I was expecting something different, and I didn't get it, so it's all right.
Hold on. If I could play the mediator on Riku's part, Brian, it sounds like what Riku is saying is that you can't deduct points for making a design choice and not innovating.
You can't deduct points in them deciding to go with that mechanic and doing it in a way that isn't broken to the game. If they did it and they did it in a horrible way, like Dynasty Warriors 9. Dynasty Warriors 9 also did that twirly crap. And guess what? The game glitched when it twirls. That's when you fucking bitch.
But you're basically saying it's the standard. You can't fault them for not reinventing the wheel.
True.
Well, it's not even an important part of the actual storyline.
It's not.
Then if it takes Adam out of it, then he feels more towards it. Like
but it's not
just like Riku said, he's never played Assassin's Creed. I played way too many of them, so it's just in my face all the time.
But it's not even like Assassin's Creed. Like Assassin's Creed, Assassin's Creed, like you can't even see the part of the map until you get into the eagle view.
The whole thing of pressing in on the right stick to get the sensor to go around and do all that, that's just convenient. All of it, yeah, fine, that's fine. You know, one thing that I always felt was convenient, they never added back, was from Dead Space, the whole glowing on the floor. I thought that was great, and they never put that in anything else. It is what it is. Can't get everything. So.
The only reason I'm saying something is because like you're not portraying it correctly. Like, what's it called? Spider-Man. You can access all those parts. Like you can walk around the area even if you didn't get the tower.
That's the point. That's what I'm saying.
He's not saying he dislikes it. He's saying that it disappointed him, and there's a big difference.
Like you just said it yourself. You can go to all those areas without using the towers. Why even add the towers is my point.
No, and that's a valid criticism, but what my thing
was... That's it, and that's all.
I don't think that's a criticism. That's just helping you find that one specific backpack.
Well, it's not a criticism. It's more like a nitpick, because that's
it's a nitpick.
That's it. And I said I like the game, but it's just too many of the little tropes of open world shit that I was like, well, I don't want to keep going to this.
When you get an open world game, you're gonna get those tropes like any other game.
Or you can play Zelda.
Yeah, you guys are missing
you can't complain about the mechanics that are in a specific genre. That's like me saying I
play
so many turn-based RPG
I could, because then they could all change it. And here's a new studio jumping into this, and they could have changed it. That's what I'm saying.
Did you play Sunset Overdrive?
Yeah, I played Sunset Overdrive. That was fun.
But did they have like some of those tropes too?
It had apartments, but not so much of like the way this one was.
You guys understand the difference between dislike and disappointed, right?
Yeah, I still liked it. That's what I'm saying. I give it an 8, but it's not like I said, "Oh, it's a 5. This is some garbage." You know, no.
That's why I say like you're missing the $1 million question. The $1 million question is, what did you think, or what were you expecting them to do that they ended up not doing? And I understand the answer is probably going to be they kind of created an open world game and you expected them to innovate a little bit more. But I'm curious, and I'm not challenging you. I'm curious, where did you expect them to innovate more? Like what fell short of your expectations on this? Even though you think it's
just the whole world design. That's all. It's like I like the way it looked. I like the way you get the radio calls and stuff. Some of it felt a little rushed. Just like with the way every time I'm swinging around and he's like, "Oh, I got to get home." All right, no problem. And I'm getting all these calls. "Oh, you got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do this." Okay, that's great. And then it's like, "Oh, here, pop. Now you get to assign the missions. So pick whichever ones you want to start doing." My guy just said he was tired. Wants to go home. Let me go through that. I don't know. It was just throwing a lot at me to the point that I just muted the shit. And I just said, I just want to swing around and figure out things and find things my own. And just
Adam, some of these comments towards you, man, are hilarious. he goes, Hussein says, you platinum the most generic open world game, Ghost Recon. And then the phone says, what open world games don't have these?
That's my point. Shit, I don't understand why people are upset on the fact that I'm saying I wanted something different.
No one's upset. I just want to understand.
No, they are. They're making it seem, oh, well, it's so generic. It is. And that's the shit. I was expecting them to put something more.
They think you dislike it.
I think, see, that's the big problem that everybody seems to be having here. Everybody seems to think that he dislikes the game. He does not dislike the game. He just doesn't like certain aspects of the game.
It just falls short of what he was expecting.
Exactly. So it's not.
My thing is, here's my thing. I'm like, it's like going, "Hey, make me a ham sandwich." You get a ham sandwich. Oh, there's ham in it. And like, that's
I guess I sort of like bread.
That is a horrible example.
That's
by the way,
perfect example.
No. If we're talking, Spider-Man is not a fucking ham sandwich. Spider-Man, if you're gonna say it's something, it's supposed to be something special. If you're gonna say it's a ham sandwich and it's just like everything else that's out there, then okay, then there's no difference between this game and Mad Max.
No, a better analogy
What?
is
you got okay. So pick a food you like then. Pick a food you like then. My point is, if you go into an open world game and it has open world tropes, you shouldn't be upset. That's all I'm saying.
No, there are definitely tropes. But the thing is, at the same time, why aren't you reinventing the wheel a little bit? Why are you still? Why are we?
Why
still
do you need to?
No. I'm saying this. Why
we
are
all
we
talk about change? That's all.
You talk about change and stuff like that. So
I never talk about change.
If it ain't broke, if the mechanic ain't broke,
don't fix
it.
It
is,
no,
it's old.
But the thing is that again, he has an issue with one mechanic in the game. Why do you? Number one, if you think about it, that sort of like Assassin's Creed, like, oh, let's open up the rest of the map or make these little icons appear on the map. That's a fucking time sink. They're making you do that shit so that the game gets longer.
But but there's ways to approach that, and it doesn't matter whether or not like Adam likes the approach of the game. He's allowed to like what he likes.
Yeah.
This isn't like a ham sandwich. This is like selling your friend on a Kobe burger, right? And they go out to dinner with you, and they bite into it after you've been raving about it. And they're like, "Yeah, I mean, it's a cheeseburger." Like, well, yeah. Well, what are you bitching about it? I'm like, no, I'm just.
You sold me on you sold me on a Kobe burger, and a Kobe burger is supposed to taste better than a cheeseburger.
And he's still eating the Kobe burger.
Yeah,
that's a way better example. Yeah. That's a way better example. It's like, yo, bro, why are you complaining about it?
I'm still playing it. I enjoy it. I'm having fun.
Adam, I want you to know that I have no issue with your 8 or anything like that. I'm just trying to understand your mindset. What I do understand is that you have is open world your what is your favorite genre? Is open world like top 3?
He loves open world.
Top 3? Is that number 1? What is it? Where's it standing? Your like top 3?
Ooh, good question.
What do you mean? This game or
no genre? The genre open world. Sandbox is gotta be sandbox games. So games that take place in the city.
Probably 2. Number 1 is shooters.
So that's a number 2. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I like that. I understand where you're coming from because you play a lot of open world games.
Play a lot of it, and I just see a lot, and I had no problems. And sort of like what we talked about with Brett, I didn't want to see anything. I just saw that E3 thing with the swinging around. I was like, I'm sold. And then when we did the after show, remember I said I'm sold. That's all I need to see.
And what do you think of the combat again?
The combat is fine. It's fine. It's just going around and learning all the new tools and getting all the new gear and crafting and stuff.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Adam.
There you go.
I think the only thing that I was I remember Brian, when you asked me what other thing I think one thing that I was confused by was the fact that you were talking about them continuously adding stuff 6 hours in.
No, it was popping up with the tutorial, like, oh, this is something new on this mechanic. This is something new. It's like, okay, that's great, but it's toward the end of the game. If you start getting to the end of the game and it still keeps popping up, and that's what it looks like it's going to happen.
I beat there was one
example, like there was, but it takes the fun out of it. Because it's like, wow, I just learned something new, or like this has happened. You haven't played AC games, but there was this one, especially 3. You get this cool tool where you can start hooking guys up against the trees, and you get that like an hour toward the end of the game. Why couldn't I get this earlier? Now I can't really enjoy it. This could have been great early on.
Give me an example of a mechanic that entered in this game that you feel entered far too late and should have been in there a lot earlier than what it is. Like
investigating, just going through, and he's like, oh, now we're going to start shooting these boxes, and now you're going to look at scratches on the floor. And it's like, oh, all right, well, I could have been doing this earlier when I had to investigate on ways to get into buildings.
Yeah.
That would have been cool, because instead of just pressing it on the right stick and send a sonar beacon, or pulse, that a lot of games do that. And I was like, all right, yeah, I get it. So I'm going to be pressing in on the right stick all the time whenever I need to find an open window. Oh, there's the marker. Now here I go. As opposed to later on when it was showing, like, take a look. You could probably find a trail here. Sort of like the way Batman pulled it off. I'm like, oh, okay, then I see you going with that. But why couldn't you introduce this earlier to substitute the other part? It's like it's grabbing from all the other open worlds. And I get it, but it just should have had its own little twist to it. That's all. It's fine. It's fun. I'll keep playing it. I enjoy it. I like jumping around. It's just the open world. It is what it is.
But that's only an 8 out of 10, Adam. Really? Yeah. I mean, the audacity.
It's beautiful, you know. It's a beautiful game. It's fun. It feels like a Spider-Man game.
I'm just saying, how dare you say that the game is enjoyable, gorgeous, fun? You're going to finish it, and that you would rate it an 8 out of 10. I'm just saying, how dare you? Explain yourself, sir.
I don't know. You know, but for example, let's see what happens with Red Dead 2, because Red Dead 1 changed the whole feel of an open world.
Adam's gonna give that shit a 5 out of 10 if it got towers.
So, well, now they have hangouts. You get the hangouts.
I hope this Spider-Man DLC has some dinosaurs.
You know, so,
Riku, man, you crazy.
There'll probably be more dinosaurs in Red Dead than in Spider-Man, because then, you know, you gotta dig those shit down.
Yeah, anyway, man, hope you guys enjoyed that extended intro. What is going on, everyone, man? We're here for episode 200 of Throwdown Your Questions. Another anniversary. You already know, man. You already know. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Yo, man, what is up with y'all? There ain't no such thing as Spider-Man. I'm still on God of War. Shut up.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo.
Brian Manjoma.
What up, people?
Brett Murdoch.
What's up, everybody?
Adam Vale.
Sucker Free Sunday.
All right, we got two guests with us, man. Joining us once again, Mr. Riku-san, one, the only one.
Spider-Man is... That was good, y'all.
And of course, Mr. Richard Bailey Jr.
What's up, everybody? And congrats to the Throwdown show reaching 200.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. 200 on 2 episodes, man. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
You know?
It's 400 episodes in total, man.
Yeah. So anyway, since we wanted to do something special for you guys, we're doing an AMA special. Just ask us anything about anything tonight. Still 2 question limit though. But also to make it special, we had a extended intro for you guys. The shit we kind of talk about sometimes off there, but that shit was good, man. Interesting. We already got some questions, so I'm going to start answering these. But if we run out, we got a couple backups anyway. All right, so the first one is from Hashling and Slasher. This is an interesting one. Do you think that game reviewers' opinions on a game is skewed because they don't have to pay for those games? Richard, I'm glad you're here for this one, bro.
Oh, yeah, this is an excellent question.
Yeah, so why don't you start us off, man? What do you think about this?
Well, I personally don't think it is skewed, but, you know, I guess it depends on whoever the person is that's reviewing it and the relationship they have with the publisher. I know for us independently, if I play a game and I think there's an issue, I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to be honest because the people want an honest opinion. So I know you and I, we always speak from honesty. So obviously we're not influenced, but I guess it depends on the outlet. It depends on their relationship with the publisher. They may look at that a little bit differently.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of see, I mean, I completely agree with you, but I've always thought about it like this. Like when you get a game for free and when you buy a game, you kind of see it differently. You know what I'm saying? So in that sense, you could say a reviewer is a little bit more like unbiased, right? Because it's like, okay, he didn't pay for it, he doesn't care. But at the same time, if that same reviewer has 5 games on his plate, he may not give it the right amount of time. So I don't know how to answer this question, but I agree with you. Like, you know, there are some that may not be 100% trustworthy because they're trying to be like kiss ass or whatever to the company, you know? So that's why we say, like, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to trust your own opinions. You can't really be trusted. I've said it myself, like, don't trust me, trust yourself, you know? But if you do need to, you know, try to find somebody else's opinions, trying to find somebody that, you know, kind of aligns with yours and go from there. But ultimately you got to rely on yourself. You can't be relying on game reviewers and stuff like that, you know? Go ahead, guys, jump in.
Do I think that there is some sort of bias between the reviewers and the actual people that reviewed these things?
No. It's like, do you think a game reviewer's opinions are skewed in whatever game they're reviewing?
I think they can be. You know, I mean, the thing is that I also think that a person's opinion in general can be skewed by a lot of different factors.
That might not be the genre of game they like to play, but they've been told they have to review it. So
exactly, there are those situations where it's like, and you Tony have experienced it yourself, where you're playing a game that you don't
turn it back to.
Don't like a genre of.
Yeah, that's just the job. Richard's been in that situation too.
Exactly, too. Same thing.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, is it it's hard to keep your personal definitely it's hard to keep your personal bias out of the way for something that you don't usually play. Like you don't play hockey games.
Yeah, like Richard's NHL 16 review, that was fucking horrible, but we don't talk about it because he wasn't one of his games. You don't like that. So,
yeah, but at the same time, and I'm glad you said that, it's like, can you fully trust the game reviewer that's hyped as fuck for a game? You know what I'm saying? Or any person.
You can't trust anybody. It's your
that's what I'm saying. It goes back to the end. It's like, you can't, like, for example, a lot of people say, like, why is, Brett, just control yourself before you go off. Like, I heard people complain about, like, why are these Dark Souls games getting such high reviews? And they're like, oh, it must be because the only reviewers are getting are guys that actually like these games, so can you really trust those guys if they're typed for Dark Souls or Call of Duty or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Call of Duty gets 9s out of 10s all the time. If I were to play shit, I'm like, what are they talking about? This ain't no 9 out of 10.
I always felt reviews are supposed to be taken as like, hey, this is someone who's played it and this is what they think. It's not supposed to be taken as like gospel.
Oh no, I agree
it's
with
like,
that.
But a lot of people don't.
Yeah,
they see it from a big website. I'm like, shit, then look what they're saying. Like, look what they're saying. Look what that person is saying. That one person, and then they even say it in disclaimers, like, hey, this is their opinion. They played it. This is their view on it. That's not your view. You know why? Because maybe you like it more. Maybe you have more of a connection, whether it's a superhero game or it's a shooter game from a franchise you really like. And then that's. Just listen to it, review it, see what you like or what you dislike, and then be like, okay, well, I see why this guy dislikes this part, but I have no issues with that, so I'll be cool with this game. But some people don't. They want everything to be agreed upon the way they see it because they think their way of seeing it is right.
Yeah, by the way, quick shout out to Yin Yang Reviews, who says, hello from Portugal, great podcast, Sega forever. I love this guy already, man. Go. All right, Brett, go ahead, man.
I think that it does influence, back to the original question, I think it does possibly influence review scores in the sense that it may not change whether or not they recommend a game, but it may change how they word it. It may soften the blow. Instead of giving the game a 5, they may give it a 7 because they don't want to stop giving their review copies, especially if their livelihood depends on it. Some people will not do that. They won't, necessarily bend to the fear of that, but you do have a system in place that encourages people to not necessarily bite the hand that feeds, and it's directly tied to their livelihood. So you can only expect one generalized result.
There's only one person I know who goes against all of this, and that's Carrick, ACG. And he gets the games, but then he also buys the games that he reviews, and then he gives that one that he bought away to someone. So then that way it's not like, well, you gave this score whatever because you got the game for free. He still buys it. And he does like 20-minute reviews on these things. So it's like, yeah, I got this free. It's great and all, but I also bought it and I'm giving it away to somebody. And that way he can't be judged. They're like, oh, well, you're judging this because you got it for free and that's why you put the score or whatever you gave. So it's tough to do that. Not everybody can do that.
All right, come on, guys. Give me the answers.
I don't think necessarily being free games make you do it differently. I think just the fact that people review games a lot might skew it a little bit. Maybe it becomes more of sort of a working mechanical kind of thing instead of just enjoying games for what they are. Because it's at the end of the day, for a lot of reviewers, it's a job. So it might have some sorts of biases. I'm not too sure. I've never reviewed games, so I wouldn't know.
I'll tell you this much, just to link with this, with the big, like, IGN, because that's what a lot of people always criticize, the whole IGN. And they're like, oh, well, they're paid off, this and that. Well, when WWE 2K18 Switch came out, which we all know was hot garbage, they listed that shit as awful. Okay, that's 2K's game. I'm sure they have all kind of partnership deals with 2K because we see with 2K for 19, WWE 2K19, they're doing this whole partnership with WWE where they're releasing the roster and they're doing all that stuff exclusive to IGN. Well, their Switch one, they said it was awful and that nobody should buy that shit. And they still did it. They didn't kiss ass because they have a partnership. It's like, yeah, it's got some bugs, but hey, give them benefit of doubt. I'm sure a patch will come out 7.5. They didn't do that. So,
by the way, I love how Yin Yang just replied in Portuguese, but since I'm Spanish, I could understand most of that. That's awesome, man. Yeah, the whole thing. Who was it? AG, whatever. He buys
ACG Carrick, ACG.
Never even heard of these guys. Interesting.
What? Are you kidding me?
Dude, I don't watch these guys, man. You know that.
All the time, no. This guy is no joke. And he buys every single one that he reviews. They send him a code. He'll use that code for the review, and then he buys it, and then he gives it to one of the followers.
Yeah. By the way, just full disclosure, I've said it before. I don't really read other people's reviews because I just focus on my shit. One of the few people on earth whose reviews I read is actually in the room right now, Mr. Richard. Man, like I'm looking forward to his Tomb Raider review. I love the Spider-Man one, but the thing is, I know where Richard's coming from, so I get that. And I respect him. Like I said, I don't really see the point of reading somebody's reviews that I don't really know. You know what I'm saying? And I know Richard's keeping it real too. You know what I'm saying? Which is always good because I think some of these guys, especially the fanboy reviewers. And by the way, when I'm talking about reviewers, I'm not just talking about just like quote unquote professional review. I'm even talking about the guys on YouTube. I kind of don't trust the YouTube guys as much because I'm like, okay, this is a bunch of fanboys. Like when I see some of the stuff, I'm like, dude, really? Come on, man. But it's interesting. Go ahead, Carlos.
So, Tony, I agree maybe more on the YouTube side because I think YouTube creators are more impressionable in a way, like they're much more younger in a sense. Like you can have like an 18-year-old kid that's doing like I don't know, videos on PUBG or something like that. And if the PUBG corporation keeps giving them like whatever DLC or game, I think they'll be more lenient to it.
And they're not going to shit on it, especially if they have a high sub count. They're not going to shit on it because like, damn, I got 60,000 subs here, and if I start trashing this shit now, I may not get the new DLC, and so I'll just say it's great. It just needs some work. What does that mean?
Yeah, and that's a good point. Like some of these YouTube people are focused solely on a specific type of game. So if
and I'm sorry, Carlos, and Nate, he goes, yeah, them Zelda reviews.
Yeah, man. Like I don't know. It's dicey because it really depends on what type of reviewer you're talking to or you're talking about. I think the traditional one is much more sort of.
I guess it's fair to say that we can't just look at the one factor of if you put your own money to buy the game and review it, or if you're given the game from your work or whatever, that you're going to be automatically biased, right? I think there's more factors involved. You could be a lazy jerk at IGN and just rip off someone else's review, right? Like
damn!
That never happens.
You could do that.
Never happens. Chris, you spreading rumors. You and your fake news.
Allegedly.
No, go ahead, Chris.
But yeah, or you could, there's fanboys like. There's paid and unpaid fanboys, There's people who defend, Spider-Man would be better on Xbox and all this shit. Like this is going to be shit all over the place. There's going to be guys like, I don't know, you got the second run of Mario Kart 8 is the best thing since sliced bread. And I don't think that you can just count that one factor, right? It is a factor though. Like maybe. I don't know, maybe it breeds some entitlement because we know like Kotaku was screaming when Bethesda cut them off when they were like, nah, we're not sending you any more copies, and they were crying, and it's like, grow a pair. Go buy a copy like everyone else.
Just go buy it. Yeah, just go buy it and then review your paid one.
Yeah, that's it, man. And Richard, I know you can vouch for this too, man. Most of our writing careers, we've had to buy the fucking games and actually like write about. You know what I'm saying? Like buy them and write about them. If I have to go back to that, so be it. It doesn't really matter to me.
That's true. Doom? It was Doom. Yeah, it was. I remember Doom? They didn't send out any early releases, and I remember IGN. McCaffrey? He talked about how he had to go and buy it. He went out and bought it, then he did the review, and he gave it a good review score. Even though he went and bought it.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, you know. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say this right now. Here's where I would be skeptical. If you get a review for a multiplayer game that drops on the first day, I would not trust that shit, man. Like, whenever I've had a review, you know, like multiplayer heavy games, I do that. Even if I get it like for free, like a week beforehand, I wait till a week or two afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to play with actual people. Multiplayer games, you can't just review it with like three reviewers that are playing the fucking game. Like Monster Hunter, like I didn't drop that shit until like maybe a couple of days afterwards when I actually got to really play this shit. You know,
and that's why you gave it a 4 out of 10 because you knew that shit was whack.
No, Monster Hunter was the fucking shit, man. You know?
That shit was an 8 until and then it went up
you know. Don't be surprised if Monster Hunter still ends up
with you early, specifically so that you could get the multiplayer.
Exactly, Brett had to help me out with that, and then I really got the gist of Monster Hunter when the beta went up. It's like, because you know, I'm gonna be honest right now, a lot of these fucking reviewers don't play games online, man. They really don't, you know. Oh man, but yeah. Monster Hunter. All right, anyway, let's move on. We got a couple more questions here. Remember, guys, ask us anything about anything tonight, but just keep it to 2. All right. Next up is still Hashling and Slasher, and his next question is some interesting one. Do you think that Throwdown will continue for another 100 episodes, even if there is no growth in the channel? Bro, I'm going to keep it with you. There's been no growth in the channel for like a fucking year. So I think that's your answer.
ever since YouTube pretty much gimped us, you know, and changed all their policies around, we literally have gone down about almost half of the amount of views that we had on each of our videos. But yet, you know what? We continue to do this because we enjoy doing it.
Yeah, we don't do this shit for money. I like hanging out. I look every fucking Thursday and Sunday. I look forward to hanging out with you guys talking about games. I don't give a fuck if we don't make any money off the shit or if the channel's not going anywhere. Like I said, for like a year, effectively, the channel has been dead. We still keep it going, man. So yeah, we're just gonna keep it going until the apocalypse happens, basically.
We have like episode length equivalents like pre and post Throwdown. We're not even recording or showing anything.
Man, you guys don't even know. Almost every time we just have these ill discussions, even afterwards. You know, we do this shit for fun, man. So yeah, I think that answers
we're here
it.
because we love it.
Pretty much, I think that answers that one. All right, next up, okay, Master Shake. When people say things used to be better than the way they are now, how much do they believe the past used to be better, and how much do you think it is based on seeing the past as better than it was? This is open-ended. This is a very good question.
We had this discussion last week.
Yeah, well, you guys are going to get a taste of that shit right now, man.
It's all bullshit.
Nostalgia glasses?
It's never been better. Life in the 50s was horrible. Life in the 30s and 40s with polio and all kinds of shit, fucking horrible. Life has never been better. This is better. This is the best it's ever been for the human race.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Like, listen, okay, yeah, there's some like things that were better back in the day, like, you know, more fun. But yeah, like overall, like you're not worried about food. You ain't worried about no huts. Exactly. Like if we live in the West,
don't have to go hunt for your own.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about, you know, another tribe coming in trying to kill you and shit. You know, things are pretty good right now. So you gotta like take the good with the bad. There's some societal stuff that's going on right now that's questionable, and like Brett was probably gonna tell you, there's some shit with like these like super corporations that's troubling. But yeah, overall things are, if in the West, you know, in the first world, things are better than they've ever been, which is kind of weird because people complain anymore. I'm like, what the fuck are you complaining for? You're living like fucking kings now.
Here's the thing. No, here's the difference. It's not that everybody's complaining more. It's the fact that you can see people complaining.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Social media has put it out there. Before they were complaining, we just didn't hear it.
Yo, I mean, I'm using myself as an example right now. I'm in a fucking wheelchair. I live in the projects. I make like dirt money. I live like a fucking god compared to people from 200 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So things are pretty fucking good right now, man.
There you go.
Yeah, I think the best point that was made, I forgot who mentioned it, but like we get to see everything pretty much on the internet. Like we get to see all the good, all the bad. Back in the day, in the 50s and 40s, back in the Leave It to Beaver days, people were just ignorant about everything that was going on. So people didn't know about all the.
Well, they would just, all they had was their newspaper. That was it. That's why whenever you see those old time movies where they're trying to do throwbacks, you just see the dad sitting in the kitchen reading a newspaper. That's all they fucking had. Maybe they had a radio. You know, this is before TV. It was all about the paper. And then if your paper was feeding you all kinds of weird propaganda they wanted you to believe, then that's all you believed. That's all you knew.
Yeah, and
and if you were listening to the radio in the 30s, man, you'd be scared shitless that aliens were coming in and invade your town.
There you go. War of the Worlds. Orson Welles, that whole shit. A lot of people thought that was real because they didn't know. They didn't know about the whole science fiction thing. What is science fiction? I just heard on the radio they took that shit as gospel. They're like, damn, that shit's happening somewhere. Let's go and hide.
It sounds like a real broadcast. Let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, come on, guys.
So I think we're living in the best time right now, relatively to everything else. But I mean, there's always societal issues. There's always things that are going on that's just like bad, like unjustifiably bad, and some stuff that's societal, some stuff that's in the natural world.
Something. There's always going to be something.
So I guess we have to, like, also with just this high bandwidth of information that we take in every day by being attached to these internet devices. We have to process this information. We have to curate this information much better as a society. I think we're living in a time where most of us are just we're barely starting the internet age. The internet age like just took off like maybe a decade or so or two ago. So we're like it's still in its infancy, this new generation of society, and we have to find ways to progress that and make it better.
Carlos, you're saying we're still going through the growing pains, right?
Yep. Show me that smile.
I think that's the good days right there, man. Fuck that.
I think the
Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis.
The only thing
when I was there broke, man.
The only thing that can really hurt us right now, is if we find out, just like what they did
alien invasion
later, about cigarettes, and it's like, oh shit, this can cause cancer and all kinds of. Oh, we didn't know. We were telling everybody to smoke. We didn't have an issue. And if we find out that cell phones were really putting like brainwave something, giving us cancer in the brain, and we didn't even know.
Yo, I got a quick story for you, man. I got a quick story for you, my boy, evil Chris, right? He's like that. No cell phones, because he honestly believes some shits give you cancer. So if he's the last man alive, there you go.
And that's the thing, though. It's one of those things where, even if it does, would they even tell us? It's a big money industry.
Yeah,
they wouldn't tell us. They wouldn't, and that was the whole thing with cigarettes. Doctors knew that it was causing all kinds of shit, but they didn't say anything. That was a tobacco industry. That's big money with the farming, the packaging, distribution, advertising. That's a lot of money. So it's like, hey, can we just stay shut about this? So
yeah. No, you're right about that. So it's like you're gonna have the warning label on this shit. You know what I'm saying? It may cause you to die.
Yeah, even if
too much internet,
too much internet is bad for your health.
Oh well, remember with the vision, my eye doctor was telling me that he's seen an increase for younger people needing glasses, and it's due to them using the tablets, because he said their eyes are used to seeing something right in front of them, very close, and then when they start turning away, the draw distance, their eyes are having trouble developing and focusing on it, so they need the glasses for the distance. And he's seeing that at very early ages because of phones and tablets and just having screens that close. And he brought up a good point. He was like, I remember when I was a kid, and he said probably when you were a kid, you were told, hey, don't sit too close to the TV, right? Keep a distance. Stay a little further back. Now we sit in front of the screens and everything closer than a fucking TV.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just normal. No one's saying to keep a distance from that. Computer screens, we're like, not even a foot or two away. How come they're not saying it's not bad for us?
Yeah,
because we're adults.
Shout out to For Me to Enjoy. He goes, really appreciate the podcast. OBJ turned me on episode 66. That's awesome, dude.
Thanks.
Shout out to OBJ too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Chris, get in here, man. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of technology and stuff, it's much improved, right? In that medical and quality of life, the things have improved. There's things, and there's subjective things. Like I could be old and crotchety and be like, music sucks now, and metal was better. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever.
Chris, you're objectively correct about that.
Yeah, you are right. Music is terrible now. This is a fact.
But we grew up liking a certain sound, and that's what happens. That the sound that we like was ingrained into us already.
Well,
so
I
the
just
new
think
sounds aren't there for us.
all the people we like could actually play instruments.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's that, but and there's that, and I think that in terms, but that's entertainment. That's like all subjective. Like some people could like it, whatever, but like we're living longer. Like our ways of preparing food, medicine, growing crops, computers. Look how empowered we are now. Like you ask a guy 20, 30 years ago to make a game or an animation out of his house, and be like, this is impossible. Like, I can't do that. Now that's become very possible.
Yep.
So those type of things have much improved people's quality of life. Not only that, giving them another avenue to earn income.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have services pop up because the internet has improved and we're all connected. So your Patreon.
Look where we are right now. This was not possible many years ago.
Yes, we can. Our voices can get heard, get spread out. As far as like we have listeners and people listen to us, and you don't have to listen to somebody who wink wink plagiarizes stuff. You could come listen to us, and we don't do that.
And I mean, again, to go with what Chris said, I mean, we just had a person from Portugal just say, "Yeah, we love your show." That is really crazy because it's like, oh yeah, we're just a couple of people that, and then the fact that all of us kind of being spread throughout the United States as of now,
and
even now
and the world. Think about it. Brian's one of our
world,
boys, man. I never met this motherfucker in real life.
Yeah,
but I'll take a bullet for him. Do you guys even have bullets over there? You still have? I don't know. What do you have over in England? Do you have bullets?
Batons and brass knuckles.
You have tea.
You have tea. All right, I'll take.
No, they don't have like what is it? What is that little mace? That little tiny mace? A blackjack. They don't have blackjacks over there.
Yeah, they have blackjacks. You put that under your hat.
With the bobbies and shit. All right. Anybody else want to answer this question about things being better back in the day?
Just to respond to something Hussein said, and by the way, shout out to Hussein.
Shout out Hussein for the super chat, brother. We got your question next, baby.
He says so much junk information now. Yeah, that's definitely like one of the biggest issues going on right now is sort of the spread of misinformation.
Kojima predicted this shit.
Yep, that was exactly what Arsenal Gear was there. It was there to sift through all the junk information and create context.
But it's expected. Not everything's gonna be quality.
Because even if you write some bullshit, even if you write a flat-out lie that's like, debunked an hour later, that lie is still there forever. And someone's gonna read it, someone's gonna believe it.
It's gonna be a fact for so many people.
Exactly. I read the shit on the internet.
That's it, and they walk away after they read it, and they don't even do the follow-up because they didn't think it needed a follow-up.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure maybe like in 5 or 6 years we'll have courses that teach us, like they better put this into the curriculum because a lot of this stuff is like gonna deteriorate our minds, man.
Yeah, no, like how to sift through news. Wow, that's great. And we didn't have to worry about that back in the day. See, that's something where things got worse. It's like all this information, it's like you don't know what to believe anymore. You have to go out there and actually do your own research,
Here's the other thing, like I will agree that objectively, overall, as a package deal, things have gotten better. There are several things that have gotten worse. Earning power has gone down, things like that. But I mean, to a certain extent, in any dystopian future reality kind of thing, you expect them to be able to miraculously heal bones with a broken leg syringe kind of thing. Like you expect these great advancements in technology, but it doesn't necessarily improve the quality of life of the people there. Think of like a dystopian cyberpunk game.
Brett, do you believe the conspiracy of that?
What's that?
What about the conspiracy aspect of that? That we could do that, but they choose not to because they want to milk and diamonds for everything, which is why we don't see any cures. We just see pills and stuff to prolong things.
I mean, that's even worse. I was talking kind of, bad case scenario, but, despite, all we can say about all of the advancements in technology and medicine and these things, we are also living with a lot of this scary shit from 1984. We are being we've just gotten used to being constantly listened to, constantly spied on, constantly fished with different ad campaigns directed at us in different ways, and internet conversations being edited to make people feel certain ways, and targeted ads and all this stuff. There was a time before that. And depending on your priorities, you could consider that time to be freer. I mean, fuck, some of us lived in that. Nowadays, like you have, GPS tags literally attached to everybody. So that's not necessarily the idea of progress to some people.
There's certain things that, are kind of worrisome, especially with the fact that, and think about it like this, right? If you were to ask somebody 10 years ago, 10 years ago, hey, do you have a problem with, people like essentially finding out, having all this information about you? People are like, no, get the fuck out of here. Now people are perfectly fine. They'll sign that user agreement like nothing. They don't care. So it's interesting. People have just gotten used to it. Cameras every fucking where. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's okay with it. But 10 years ago, they would not have been okay with it. The same people, the same exact people that would have complained about this 10 years ago are now perfectly fine. It's interesting.
A lot of like you said, like we started doing this early on. Just we saw the growth, but a lot of younger kids just jump in and they're like, "Oh, this site just needs my email address, and then I have to go and sign this." They're not thinking of the consequences of like, "Wow, you just gave your email address to some website you're not too sure about just to sign in, thinking that I'm just signing in." They could be selling your shit now. Now you're gonna get all kinds of junk mail, or it could be, you're posting up videos and you're not thinking much of it, and then next you go to a job interview and they find out that you didn't get the job. And you're like, "Why?" "Well, we saw you doing this whole thing where you were smashing up cars and stuff with your buddies on this website." And it's like, well, that was just for fun. Why are you using that against me? Well, you post it out there, and you hear these stories happening and people are like, that's not right. What do you mean it's not right? You're posting this stuff. You're sharing your personal information out there or your personal events. Don't do it.
Yeah, you got to be careful, because people, you've seen it. They can and will use that shit against you,
Yeah.
And even if it happens purely online, it'll affect your real life. So you gotta watch your ass.
Yeah, we've seen people lose their jobs and stuff for like before. Remember that woman with the whole Twitter thing about the game and all that stuff?
Yeah,
it doesn't matter anymore.
I guess maybe that's the modern day saber-tooth tiger we got to watch out for. I don't know, man. It's crazy, man. Anyway, let's move on because we're getting a good amount of questions now. Hussein, I'm moving you up the queue, brother, because you gave the super chat. I'm just being real right now.
Right, be real.
Yeah, and that's how it works.
Yeah, man. Okay, he goes, what novel series / manga would you like to see a video game adaptation of? Mine would be Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archive as WRPG like The Witcher 3, but with better combat. Okay, so what book series or manga would you like to see adapted into a video game?
Can I go?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Well, since we are on the rise of samurai games, I think that the arguably the best samurai manga out there, even better than Rurouni Kenshin, Vagabond, should get a samurai game. That manga is phenomenal, and I think not a lot of people. I think a decent amount of people know who the most famous samurai of all time, Musashi Miyamoto, kind of is because of that Brave Fencer Musashi game. They know of him, but they don't know his story.
Yo, Rico, I'm gonna raise my hand. I'd never heard of this guy or Brave Fencer or anything.
Well, you already told us that you don't really like dive into Japanese like lore or anything like that.
Yeah, lore that's not maybe modern wars.
Yeah, like my history of Japan starts during World War II, basically.
That's completely understandable.
Yeah, I just had to be an asshole and be like him because like, hey, everybody knows. I'm like, I never heard of this guy. Anyway, go on, man. I'm being an asshole.
But I think that would be a good one. Like I said, since with the rise of all these samurai games, and like Tony said, I guess there isn't with the rise of all these samurai games. I think it would behoove the world if everyone would know who the most famous samurai of all time is, Musashi Miyamoto, and it's done well in the manga Vagabond. I think a video game about him would be nice. I think, like I said, he had a video game before made by I don't think it was Square, but it was a pretty popular PS1 game, Brave Fencer Musashi.
Yo, be like, yo, Miyamoto, that's the motherfucker that made Mario.
Rico, that new samurai game that's coming out, is that based off of a manga?
Which new samurai?
That one we saw that. What's that shit? I forgot.
Ghost of Tsushima?
Yeah. Is that
that's based off of history.
It's based off of a historical event.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, Musashi's
very loosely.
Yeah, I mean, they all are.
Yeah, you got to make it entertaining, right?
Spoiler alert: the samurais win.
When does that come out? When does that go? That's another one. I forgot about that.
Onimusha is based off of feudal Japan. Like Neo is also. They're all based off of like historical events, just with their fictional twist.
Yeah, like Animusha has what's his face in it, that
Nobunaga.
Nobunaga.
The professionals in that shit, man.
Well, that's the later ones, dude.
Yeah, that's the only one I know, man. They got the professional in it.
The first two had other actors in it, had famous Japanese actors. Actually, all three have famous Japanese actors in them.
No, I would choose that game.
Pull
that manga. Yeah.
All right, Rich. What about you, man? What novel or manga or whatever piece of literature would you like to see adapted into a video game?
All right, so I must admit that I have not seen too many of the books. There is one game that I played a long time ago, and perhaps I will be telling my age if I say this, but I played this game back in the day called Ranma 1/2 Hard Battle on Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I remember Ranma. Yeah,
Ranma 1/2. Yeah,
yeah, Ranma 1/2. Yeah,
I would love to see that series return, but I just don't know if that's even possible at this point.
I don't know, especially with how somewhat disposable anime and manga has kind of become. I don't know how, I mean, it could, Ranma does still have a fan base behind it. So there's a possibility that somebody could just resurrect that shit. So
that shit's really popular over here.
It's like,
it's surprised somebody hasn't.
It's like saying, it's also like saying, hey, I want another Sakura Wars game,
I think there is a Ranma game.
Yeah, there was. It was Super Nintendo. I remember that. Or Super Famicom, excuse me.
Yes, back in the day.
Yeah, that's actually the only one I played on that Super Nintendo. So.
Oh shit.
Nice.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
So for me, I'm gonna cheat.
Uh-oh.
Because Riku brought up a good one. Like, yeah, Vagabond is do that. But I'm gonna cheat, and I'm gonna say, Insomniac, make an Attack on Titan game. Because that shit'll be crazy.
Spider-Man now we know they could. Yes.
Exactly. I'm like, you guys got the mechanics down. All you have to do is put Titans on this shit.
Here's the thing. Then they can do a DLC crossover between Spider-Man and Attack on Titan since it already happened in the manga.
Oh man. We need to start a petition, man.
But Carlos, they already have several Attack on Titan video games.
Yeah, and they already have several Spider-Man games, and a lot of them are good either.
Yeah, so I'm gonna use that because it's just too good of an answer to pass up.
All right, Brett. Yeah, Brett, get in here, man. I know you read books.
Get in here, nerd.
Yeah, you fucking nerd. You read books, man. You got words. Go ahead.
I'd like to see Robert Jordan's Sword of Truth series made into a game, but it would have to be a series of very long games because that's just like 14 books of 1,400 pages apiece. It is a long story. Also, I think Terry Goodkind's Sword of Truth series would make a fun game. Starts off a little hackney and cliche, but I think that'd be excusable in a video game, and it builds into some pretty cool moments and stories and world building through the rest of the series. So I think both of those work really well as games, and obviously they'd be open world epic RPGs. Maybe even Witcher style.
By the way, I want to just mention something.
Honorable mention?
It's kind of like anime games, or like most of the animes are based off of mangas, like from the ones that I watch. Mm-hmm. But a lot of anime / manga games are just not good because they just use the intellectual property to sell the game more than they do to build it. Like
kind of sounds like the old comic book games. Yeah. Well, they are comic book games. Hey.
So yeah, like for me, it's like One Piece is probably like one of my favorite. Yo, Riku, is there a Hunter x Hunter game?
There was one back on the PS2, and then a couple that only released in Japan.
Ah, damn. Yeah, like there's so many like One Piece games. There's gonna be a Boku no Hero game, but man, none of them are really that good.
We'll see what that One Piece World Seeker does.
Oh man, I'm really
know about it.
I don't know, man. Hopefully it's good, but
I'm pessimistic too.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's right though.
a lot of those properties deserve better games, and like
True.
all of the big ones.
Same thing with Berserk. Like Berserk, that Muso game. Even I wasn't really feeling it. You know, that says something. So it's just like I would love From Software to do a Berserk game.
Manny.
You know?
There was a sort of the Berserk game.
Yeah, but
that game for Dreamcast was pretty fire at the time.
At the time, but you know what else is pretty fire at the time? The Spider-Man PS1 game, and we got a new one. So guess what? Give us a new Berserk game.
I don't like your snide comments.
Rico, I like the snippiness tonight, man.
No, but I mean, am I wrong though?
Good?
You know what else they had back in the 90s? My nuts.
No, but I mean, come on, who doesn't want a Berserk game? Like a good one, like a real nice, stellar.
I want a good Berserk anime. Fuck you.
We want a good Berserk everything. That's the thing, though. We want a good Berserk everything. And when it comes to when it comes to the anime right now, we're kind of fucked.
Oh we are.
Linden Films owns the IP, and they ain't giving that shit up.
Trash.
So,
all right, Brett. It's up to us. We gotta go to Japan. We gotta bust into Miyazaki's office. Just knock everything off his desk and be like, "All right, motherfucker. We know you love Berserk, right? Take all the mangas off his shelf. Be like, make this fucking game already. Dark Souls, everything. We know you want this."
He loves him some. Kentaro loves him some Idolmaster, apparently.
All right, Chris, we're gonna rock paper scissors for who gets to be bad cop.
All right, I'll sweep everything off his desk. Let's go in there and knock it off. Crazy American style. Just kick the desk over.
All right.
Stop all projects.
Who else hasn't gone? Or wants to answer?
I didn't go.
Go ahead.
You know what I want? I want a Punisher game that plays like Hitman. I want to get in the van and drive around and have Punisher do jobs and go sneak around as Frank Castle and do shit and just murder motherfuckers in the Marvel Universe. That's what I want.
Hey, Chris, novel series or manga, not comic book.
Oh, come on. Number one, it's like a novel series or manga. It's so specific. Why not any sort of literary
Well, that's
thing?
what he wants, because then we could just go into comics. That's why. You know, that's why I'm reclusing myself. I'm like, I don't read books or manga, so I can't answer this shit.
All right, how about I got one. Let's give me this. All right, this is even more challenging than Superman. Somebody do One Punch Man, the video game. I would love to see that.
Keep it compelling, you know.
Okay. I mean, that would work. That would be funny. I think it would be I personally would like to play from the perspective of Genos. And Saitama is just in the background doing his funny shit, but you're just using Genos and you're struggling just like Genos. You're upgrading all of Genos' stuff. I think that would be cool.
Play from the perspective. Who's the guy on the bicycle? I'll play
from Human Rider.
It can be a mini game.
Yeah. Justice Crash, man.
Let's try not to die.
Gonna last long enough.
Yeah. See, by the way, Hussein, he's still in the chat. He's like, yeah, no comics. That's too easy. Exactly. It's like we can name 1 million of them. You know.
Yo, man, that's too easy. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he gave us a nice challenge. It's like
manga
novels.
is comics. I
threw that out there. I love One Punch Man, and I know like nobody's made a decent Superman game. So I think it would be even harder, and I think Rico has a good idea. Do it from Genos' perspective. Because Saitama, you just win. You just gotta wait. Yeah. All right, here we go. Bam.
It'll be funny if you unlock Saitama at the end of the game. You know, game's over. All right, you can use Saitama now. Just one punch everything that you worked really hard with.
It's like
Genos. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I can see it. I could see it.
Yeah.
But
who else, man?
I would like to see a Witcher style Lord of the Rings game.
That could be cool.
That would, I think that would work well. That would work really well.
Yeah. Well, you can you have your main mission, but you also have your side missions. Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, man. Go into some towers too.
That's fine. I was just watching The Fellowship with my daughter.
Great movie.
She likes it. Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
Long. Yeah, Lord of the Rings. We've been going through the whole thing.
Nice.
So.
All right. Brian, do you read books?
I'd say a good Afro Samurai game, because the ones that we had having just.
How
was
about
Afro Samurai a manga?
How about this, Brian?
Yeah, Yeah, it was a manga.
Was it originally a manga?
Yeah.
No.
I think it was a animation first.
No, it was
Which
manga.
one?
Animation first.
Afro Samurai.
Yeah, for Samurai was an animation first, dude.
I think Tony's right. I'm not sure though.
The guy that did it though did create some manga, but he did not specifically make that into.
Or there might have been a manga afterwards. So
there was a manga a year after the Afro Samurai.
Yeah, so I think it's still valid.
Is
I would say so. I mean, here's the thing.
I would say no, but I'm not
manga.
going to stop you. You know.
Here's the thing. It has a manga just because it's backwards. I mean, here's a better question, Brian. If you had to choose,
hold on.
Actually, Hussein's in there. Hussein, does it count? Does Afro Samurai count? Go ahead.
I will tell you when the manga came out. Like, I'm on Wikipedia like right now. Manga came out September 1999 to May 2000. Anime was 2007.
No, Afro Samurai came out way before that.
The movie came out in 2007.
Okay.
There was a movie. There was an Afro Samurai
Brian
movie.
just schooled us. I thought Afro Samurai was the original thing.
Well, there was an Afro. Well, he said the movie.
No, the Afro Samurai movie came out before the manga. Then there was a manga came out, and then there was a series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what came out first, was the manga or the movie?
The movie came out first.
What time did the movie come out?
2007.
The movie
came out October 2007.
Yeah, the manga was out in 2000.
No, but here's the thing: there was a movie and there was a series. The series was first.
The manga came out in September of 2008.
Was the series any good?
The series was the first thing that they showed on Spike.
The one on Spike TV.
The movie was the other thing.
It looks like it. You know, I'm just reading this shit off Wikipedia, which I'm assuming Brian is.
Wikipedia. The OG run was 2000.
Mm-hmm, yeah, the manga magazine. Yeah. Okay.
I'm looking at
we just got hit in the face with facts.
I trust my anime list more than
Wikipedia. I trust my Wikipedia more. Right. So, in other words, fuck you guys, I was right. After Samurai game.
No, here's the thing.
Wait, I want to know Tony Ian more.
How you annoying me? I see it with you, Brian. What the fuck?
Okay.
Whenever I'm wrong, I admit it. You know.
Full stop.
Yeah.
I want it in the style of Medical Rising. And wait, and Tony, you might agree with me here. In the style in that you can cut anything, because I felt like that was quite cool.
Yeah. You mean the only good mechanic in the game?
Oh damn it! I thought you might have hated it. Shit.
No, I like the mechanic. It's just the game was shitty. You know.
So in the style of Mega Rising, that is how I would want it, because it's a fucking samurai game and you cut limbs off, and that should be a thing that you do now.
Should the title of the game also be Revengeance?
Yeah, it'll be Afro Samurai Revengeance.
Afro Samurai Justice.
Brian, who do you want to create this Afro Samurai game?
I don't know. I've not seen who does good samurai games well. I would say Ninja Theory.
That's a good one.
They're owned by Microsoft now, so they'll make.
I think Team Ninja would do a good job. I think Team Ninja would do a good job.
I won't say Platinum Games, but they had like their chant, and they kind of half screwed it up. So I don't know.
If they use the Nier Automata engine, they can make a good Afro Samurai game. If
that's
Team Ninja
now.
Yeah, it is. And I think if Team Ninja, use the Neo and Ninja Gaiden engine, they would do a good job also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything. That's what I want. Just walk up to a tree and just cut it in half.
Damn, there was only one season of Afro Samurai TV.
Yep. Nah, they made two, didn't they?
No, there's a series and there's a movie.
Oh, okay, I got you. Interesting.
Yeah, there was Afro Samurai, and then there was Resurrection.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Resurrection is the film that comes out after, technically speaking.
Interesting. Yeah. All right, let's move on here. We're up to Master Shake. Oh boy, this was a controversial one. So if some of us do not answer this, please do not get mad. All right, social agendas are deeply divisive in our society right now. What is your own perspective on where the line is on pushing it for those who morally believe in it? Brett, why don't you answer this?
Could you repeat that question?
Yeah, the ending's a little weird. social agendas are deeply divisive in our society right now. What is your own perspective on where the line is on pushing it for those who morally believe in it? I don't understand that last part there.
Well, basically,
it makes more sense if it said for pushing it for those who morally or who don't morally believe in it. Maybe.
Okay, let's go for that then. That makes more sense.
Because that makes more sense for me.
No, I'm gathering from the context of the question that for the people that believe that they have a righteous cause, where is the line on pushing or championing that cause when you feel righteously justified? Does that make sense?
I take it wherever you want, man.
So it's like, for example, I'm thinking like if they were to reboot a popular series and instead of making the lead a male or female, it's like, oh, it's a transgender. And it's like, oh, well, why are you doing that? Are you doing that because of just that's what's going on right now?
Okay, by the way, Master Shake is actually here. He goes, basically, if you believe in it, where should you stop pushing it?
Okay, that's where I kind of figured.
No, Frogs, we got you, son. We got you next, man. Don't worry about it. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, if you believe in a cause, you're allowed to champion it, and I don't think any of us here actually have a problem with a story that poses a perspective or even has an agenda. We all love X-Men. We all love, we all love stories that tell from a certain point of view. The same way I tell people all the time, like, none of us actually have problem with strong female characters. I will criticize a story up and down for ham-fisting that role into somebody and broadcasting it so that every idiot can find it. But I don't have a problem with strong female characters. I have a problem with stories that revolve around strong female characters to the detriment of their narrative. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of draw the line. So I would say in broadcasting your own beliefs, where do you draw the line? Well, feel free to tell a story from your perspective. Feel free to tell a story that narrates your values or the things that you find important. Do you find success important, friendship important, family important, honor important? This is going to be reflected in the story that you create, the characters that you create. It's going to happen naturally, though. So I think, honestly, where the line comes in is when you start affecting the integrity of whatever product you're starting to make. A good example I can give is the new Witcher series on Netflix. Just is Siri? Is that her name? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yep, Siri.
Okay. They just sent out a casting call for Siri to be a Black or Asian or Middle Eastern actress. And for anybody who's read the books or is familiar with the series, that is a 180 degrees from how they have portrayed her in the franchise thus far. And so a lot of people are up in arms about this, in my opinion, not because they have a problem with a person of any ethnicity in their franchise, but because you've now broken the narrative that has been in there before. It now makes no sense if you're looking at it from the whole franchise now, which really kind of acts as a detriment to the fans. So I guess my personal opinion would be the line is drawn in the sand when the quality of your product suffers because of it. Until then, feel free to tell whatever story you want. I may not agree with it. I may not agree with your point of view, but I mean, that's half the fun of a good story is seeing something from outside your shoes and possibly learning something and growing as a person. We should all be open to that.
Didn't this happen also with the Ghost in the Shell reboot with the lead wasn't female Asian? It was what's her name?
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, Scarlett.
Yeah,
people bitch about that.
Well, yeah, like I guess the question is where like people are going to push for a certain sort of agenda or narrative. Like where do they cross the line in pushing that? I think that's what the question is asking.
When they hurt the product.
Well, they hurt the person who is championing it. That's it. How far do you want to go with your beliefs and how far do you think the product should go on it?
I'll give another great example. All of us loved the BioWare games. Nobody had any problem with somebody being an alien and not necessarily getting along with the rest of their race or something like that, or being an outcast, or there being a really weird power abusive dynamic between this alien race and this alien race. Like, you're putting ideas into thematics and handing them to us, so you can be like, well, yeah, that one group of aliens subjugating that other group of aliens, that's kind of wrong. And the fact that they think that they're all just dirtbags right off the bat, like that's wrong. Like, you're taking the idea of prejudice, pulling it out of the norms that people normally see it in, putting it in a new wrapping, and so people look at it from a new point of view, and they're like, yeah, man, it's really not cool that they think that all the aliens from that planet, have bad credit or something like that. Like, I don't fucking know. But that's the point of it. And so, like, to take Mass Effect, for example, as I had said, like, we didn't have a problem that there were gay or lesbian characters in that. We didn't have a problem with progressive storytelling or progressive storylines, ones that were anti-authoritarian or went by the books. Like, that was your choice, and you came across some interesting things. It all fell apart in Andromeda, though, when they decided that was the most important thing, was championing social rights. And the rest of the game just didn't really meet up to the high standards that the rest of the franchise had put forward, because in my opinion they reevaluated their priorities. They were very vocal about it too during the creation of that entire game, and because of that, Mass Effect is generally regarded, or I can't say because of that is my opinion, but coincidentally Mass Effect Andromeda is regarded as one of the worst entrances into the franchise, and I can't help but see a little bit of correlation there. Maybe I'm falling prey to the correlation implies causality fallacy, but I'm one person, and that's what it looks like from my perspective. So as long as you leave the original intellectual property intact or make it better, I don't think anybody's going to complain.
Yeah, I think that's a great response, and the guys in the chat room seem to agree with you, Brett. So we'll leave it there. Go ahead, Riku. Yeah,
go ahead. About that, I do agree with everything you said, Brett, and I'm a little bit cautious, just a teensy bit, just a teensy weensy bit, just 1% cautious for. Firstly, I have to ask a question to the people who are far more knowledgeable about the lore and characters of Spider-Man. We're all playing Spider-Man right now. I don't know how far everyone is. How far is everyone in Spider-Man right now? Are they at the 40% point, 50% point? Can everyone in here tell me who is like barely into Spider-Man as far as from a story standpoint?
I'm
at the same place Adam is.
I played 2 missions and I've been web slinging like 90% of the time.
I'm at 0%.
Yep, I'm at 0 as well.
Okay.
And me and Rich beat the shit.
Yeah, I'm about 20-30%. I don't remember.
So I don't think what I'm about to say is a spoiler. So
they got Spider-Man in it?
If it is a spoiler, if you spoil me, I'm coming through the computer.
It is about how they handled Mary Jane as a character.
Be careful here. This could be a spoiler.
Riku,
don't ask it. I know where you're going with this. Do not ask that question.
All right, all right. I'm gonna leave it alone.
I'm just gonna say this, Riku. What you're gonna ask right now, I purposely did not talk about that in my review. I don't think people even knew about that.
That's true.
Rich knows what I'm talking about. Nope, don't ask.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah. I'm sorry, guys. It's episode 200, but we're gonna have to wait till future episodes, maybe, or. Maybe you won't hear it at all, or maybe you'll hear us on Twitter, whatever. But Tony apparently knows where I'm coming from. Maybe we'll talk about it after the show, whatever. But yeah, we'll leave it there. Moving on.
Yeah. Actually, Rich, what's your take on the question, man?
Well,
actually, do you feel comfortable answering? If not, we could just leave it be.
Well, I would say not so much that I feel comfortable. I think that I cannot answer it any better than Brett answered it. I have to give him props on that. So, yeah.
No, you're right about that. I don't think any of us could really top that. So, we'll move on.
I like video games.
I like games. All right.
I like turtles.
Let's go for my man Frog's Dope. This is an interesting question. It goes, gaming software developed for multiple operating systems is considered to be multi-platform. This is the textbook definition of multiplat. Why are gamers making up their own definition, i.e. with Bloodborne? I don't know what you mean by this. Are you saying, okay, I think I know where he's coming from. Basically, if you're on PC and you have PS, whatever the fuck it's called, the PS Now, you can play Bloodborne on your PC. So he's trying to say the game is now technically multi-platform. I would say it is technically, but it wasn't built, like the engine was not really made for it to be multi-platform in its inception. Like, you're streaming the shit. You're not playing the actual real game on your PC. You're streaming the shit. So it's not really multi-platform in that sense, but it is multi-platform in the sense that you could play it on 2 platforms. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit weird, you know?
Here's another thing about it. You know how PlayStation now kind of works, right?
It's a streaming service.
It's a streaming service that's running every single game in those original game environments. So despite you not actually having a PlayStation 4 and playing it on your PC, you're still playing a PlayStation 4, by the way.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, he specifically said that, or he's implying that the game, you know, was built on software that's multi-platform based. It wasn't, not originally. I know they used some of the same code for Dark Souls 3, but the game was not made to be on other systems. So that's the only part of the question I have a little bit of a problem with. I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, here's the thing. Theoretically, yes, they can port the game to work on an Xbox and a PC, right? That's because that's
they can.
That's just the way their engines work. In fact, the engine that they're using for Spider-Man currently, that's the Sunset Overdrive engine, which is also the previous engine that they used for Ratchet and Clank. So they obviously created an engine that could work on multiple environments.
Yeah, but you're right though. That's a good point. It's like you are. Didn't they already say PS Now is essentially just a bunch of PS4s or PS3 stuck together or something, all networked?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's essentially a bunch. You're essentially playing a PS3 from long distance.
Yeah.
That's
okay. He's saying that people are saying it's multi-platform now. I could. Okay, here's the thing. Especially people who have a vested interest in a console war, I could see why they say that, and it isn't 100% inaccurate. But it also isn't multi-platform either because you're streaming the shit. You're not playing it natively on your system. If you're playing it natively, then it totally is multi-platform. You know?
Yeah, because if you wanted to reach like Mr. Fantastic with that narrative, then you can say it's been pretty much every PS4 game is multi-platform because you can play it on the Vita.
That's a great point. That's a fantastic point. Yeah,
Vita's life, baby.
Yep. I mean, we're all most of us are subscribed to the Church of Vita, but I mean, we wouldn't say it's a Vita like you can God of War is a Vita game.
That's a great. I think you just shut this whole conversation down, Carlos.
Yeah.
Next up.
Yeah, that's it.
I agree. Carlos is right because didn't some Bravia TV support PS Now also?
Yep. Yeah, they used to.
Yeah,
but TV is not a game platform. So, like,
can I just kick a hole in this whole thing?
Can you play devil's advocate?
No, am I the only one? Is it just me?
Don't you hate it when
am I the only one?
Yeah, why is it that a squeegee man always wants to come and at the corner? Yo, man, fuck that.
All right, go ahead.
So, if we're gonna nitpick about people knowing and not knowing definitions, you should really be aware of tech definitions before you open that gate. Technically, a platform is a group of technologies that are used upon a base on which other applications, processes, and technologies are developed. So essentially, you want to think of a platform as everything Sony does and touches. It is the things they kind of release as a company. In telecommunications companies, when you hook up a service with somebody, it doesn't necessarily matter which box or which hardware you hook them up with. They're still running on your platform, your service with your hardware. So even if something's running on a PC, if it's running on emulated PlayStation technology, it's still running on their platform. You can't play the game without Sony. That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with that. Why is it all right, man? I love how Brett is just rubber stamping these fucking questions tonight, man. Love it. All right.
Bag him and tag him.
Bag him and tag him. All right, my man Yin Yang Grievius, all the way from Portugal. I like this question. It's a very simple one. And remember, he's from Portugal. This is how he knows the system. What is your favorite Sega Mega Drive game?
Mega Drive. Sega Mega Drive game.
Or Genesis for us.
I know. Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah. Oh, man, I'm talking to you, man. I'm talking about the other. What's the fuck's a Mega Drive? I've never heard of that shit.
I love Quackshot. I put so much time into Quackshot.
You know,
I still play Quackshot.
Hey, the Sega Genesis is better, all right? That's all I gotta say.
It's fucking better than Mega Drive. Fuck the Mega Drive.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
My
Chris.
favorite game might have been Shadow Dancer.
Ooh.
That was the last Shinobi game on there. I love that game, man.
Damn it, you stole my
started
answer.
riding a horse. What?
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know you even played that shit, Riku. Damn.
Shinobi's my shit, my nigga.
Damn. Nice.
Shinobi's my shit, man.
Yo, Riku,
I was
man,
actually gonna go back and replay.
plus 10 to respect right now, son.
Yeah, I was about to replay the Shinobi games, man.
That game was fantastic. It had great music. It was
the dive kicks?
Yeah, the dive kicks. It's his part up throwing stars, the ninja magic, all that
Everyone's
stuff.
talking about all these series that need to come back. Yo, bring back Shinobi, son.
Yo, didn't they try to bring back Shinobi like on the PS2 and it was like,
it was weird.
Bad.
It was weird, but it wasn't bad. He was right. And the character design I thought was phenomenal.
With the cape, that was cool.
Yeah,
you know?
that was a scarf. But yeah, you're right. It was fucking.
But I did have to stop the game. I'm like, I don't like this anymore. I got bored of it. You know. I have my answer, but it's just so fucking generic. I'm sorry. It's Sonic 2, man. Sonic 2 is fucking I love that shit.
That's what it is, man.
It is. Yeah, go ahead.
Can we alternatively stretch the
no, man,
Mega
I know you're going
Drive?
With this. No.
Into the Mega CD?
No, because then my answer would be completely different. I wouldn't even have to question it. But no, it's just Mega Drive. Stick to Genesis. It's Genesis. You know?
Okay.
I know you want to talk about chaotics, but you know.
No, I don't want to talk about no chaotics. I want to talk about
the real
Sonic CD, son. The real Sonic 2.
That's right. But yeah, Manny, but just Genesis.
Oh, Genesis. You know what? I'm gonna say.
Was it Buster Douglas boxing?
Oh yeah, Buster Douglas. Oh. No, the jam was Evander. No, it wasn't Buster Douglas. It was Evander Holyfield. That was the jam. But
that was good.
That was a good one.
Back and forth, you get them on the ropes and stuff.
Yo, remember the EA games on Sega Genesis? Man, they had that little thing on them and stuff. There's a fun story behind that for you guys who don't know. I'm going to give you the mad Cliff Notes version of it. Basically, EA figured out how to make their own Sega Genesis cartridges, and they kind of like manhandled Sega into forcing them to like, you know, put their games on their system. But they're like, okay, but we have to have that distinction in our cartridges. Crazy shit. Who was that? Trip Hawkins, right? Who was that? Yeah, that guy was a fucking gangster. You know,
Trip Hawkins was a gangster. He you know, he Mr. 3DO, but he did some crazy. He did some crazy.
He's still talking crazy.
Oh yeah, he's still talking crazy.
Crazy. I mean, he was talking shit about the Switch. He was like, "Yo, this shit's not gonna make it."
Oh, hold on, yin yang.
It was a throwback console system shit.
He says Comic Zone, Shinobi, and this is a good one too. Streets of Rage 2. Man,
I would say probably for me would have been Streets of Rage 1. I kind of like that one a little bit better than 2.
Yo, man, you like that car, man? That super move was crazy.
Yeah, where the car comes
the bazooka.
Yeah, man.
It's like, yo, man, gotta call the cops. They got their bazooka.
Like, yo, man, how you get that car into the 57th floor, son?
Well, if you remember, the car never showed up in the 57th floor. It never showed up in the building. It would be outside.
Really? I thought it was in. I could have sworn I did that shit in the building.
That guy had impeccable aim. He shot that shit into the
that's
building.
Right. Yeah, that's right. It's crazy, man.
Still hit you are fighting.
Yeah. All right. Rich, what's your favorite Sega Genesis game?
Well, I like a lot of the same games you guys already mentioned, but I'm going to try to mention something different that this might lose to me, losing some fans.
Rich always with the controversy, man.
So one game I did play, and I enjoy Streets of Rage, a lot of fighting games. One game I did play, maybe I'm ashamed to say it now, Eternal Champions.
Oh, hey.
I'm not gonna
listen, man. If you shitted on that game, I would kick you out. That's a fun game. Yeah, it's flawed. Don't get me wrong, but back in the day you played that shit, it was crazy.
Oh yeah.
No, I like that answer, man. Respect. All right, man. Carlos.
Yo, man, I'm just gonna be boring, but it's true. Like, and to me, it's interchangeable. Really, all the 3 Sonic games.
Yeah, they're really good.
I would also like to add one more.
Do it.
A Virgin's Aladdin for
that was fucking awesome, man. But yeah, the 3 Sonic games, that's not a bad answer, man. They're all great. Go ahead, Brett.
Man, I got a few. Kid Chameleon, Earthworm Jim, and Toe Jam and Earl are good ones that I haven't heard yet.
Yeah, I'll allow Earthworm Jim, even though that's multi-plat.
Earthworm Jim actually originally was just supposed to be for the Genesis.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so it is a good answer then.
That's why there's content missing from the Super Nintendo one.
Yeah, if I were going full multi-plat, I'd also throw in Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Ooh, man, nobody talks about that.
Oh, that was on Genesis also?
I didn't know that. I thought it was a Super Nintendo game.
That's where me and Adam played it, right?
Which one?
Zombie Eat My Neighbor, was not on the Genesis.
Yeah, that was because I had the Genesis, but I think it eventually did come to Super Nintendo.
By the way, since we're naming more than one game, man, I also want to give a shout out to the Jurassic Park game on Genesis with the raptor. Oh my fucking god!
Yeah, you could play as the raptor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That killed the whole thing for me. And that one, and
man, you play that shit.
What? You know what? I had a raptor, man. It had a raptor. That's all I needed, man.
I just watched. It's all related. I just watched the other day the new Jurassic Park movie.
Oh,
where with the it was so bad. Like the one that just came out where they're getting off the island and now they're all over
trash.
The world.
Yeah,
trash.
I don't like it. I don't like them either.
Fuck those movies, man.
Jurassic World was.
Listen, let's just be real. There was only one good Jurassic Park movie. That's it. The rest of them were fucking trash.
Was good. Yeah.
The Lost World was okay.
No.
Yeah, that was trash.
No, son. Get out of my house, son.
Not in the house of Matumbo, man.
Oh, hold on. Barry Burton, Gunstar Heroes. Let's go.
Fuck yeah. That's one of my favorite games of all time.
Chris, Alien Soldier, man. Alien Soldier, man.
Alien Soldier, when you don't get a bad bootleg, it's great.
Yeah, right? Man, Treasure was the shit. You know?
Treasure.
All right, what else, guys? Brian, did you ever get
Shadowrun?
Yeah, what happened? Shadowrun? Oh, Shadowrun was good. Brian, did you ever play Genesis?
Nope.
Even on emulation?
No, never had the need to. I just missed that part out.
All
what
right.
do you mean you didn't have the need to?
I admit it.
Brett, you gotta realize how young Brian actually is.
Brian was just born yesterday, man. Hey, listen.
But isn't Brian older than me though?
No, I think he's younger than you.
Really?
I think you guys are around the same.
I'm older, like 1 year, like half a year.
Well, I'm 91, bro. What are you? 91.
90.
All right, there you go. See, I mean, I think it's just what were you playing around the time Genesis came
I think Rico's played more old games than me.
Dude, I've been playing more old games this year than new games. Fucking hell.
Yeah, go ahead. Were you asking Brian?
No, I was saying, what system were you playing during the Genesis time?
Genesis was with
SNES.
Generation.
It was with Super Nintendo.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
probably just Super Nintendo. Oh, okay. I mean, the only reason I got to play Genesis was because of my cousin. So he had the Shinobi games and NBA Jam and the Saints. Alrighty then.
I want to bring up X-Men too. Remember X-Men?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What happened, Brett? Brett, say that.
What video games was Brian playing in 1993?
He Life. Nothing. Yeah, Life.
He played Life.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, Genesis was fucking awesome. Remember we had to reset the system? Yo, for months I couldn't beat the game because I was so afraid. I'm like, yo, if I reset that shit, I'm gonna lose everything. And then one day I just got frustrated. I'm like, I'm resetting this shit. And then all of a sudden you're on the fucking moon. It's like, oh shit, I'm in the last level. You know, so that was really good, man. Yo, Fantasy Star 4, you know, that's another good. Genesis was the fucking shit. You know. Anyway, Adam, list off some of your favorite Genesis games, bro.
Madden 98, rugby.
Yo, man, what about Joe Montana football, man?
Nope.
Oh, I still have that.
That was not it.
Football.
I used to like in that Joe Montana game, like you used to like get a kickoff. All you had to do was do a spin move the whole time, and you'd always score a touchdown. Always do that.
NHL '94, right?
Yep. The 94 one. Yeah, that's it. 94 Madden one, because remember it had the ambulance that would come out and just run over all the people to pick up the guy that was hurt.
Yeah.
I found that funny.
The Adventures of Batman and Robin, man. You guys play that shit?
I don't know if I
was that the one that looked like the cartoon?
Yeah,
No, I never got around to playing that one. By the way, they did have Batman Returns on Genesis.
Or Double Dragon either.
I remember that, but that's Multiplat. But that was fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of Multiplats.
Was Battletoads Multiplat?
Oh yeah, it was on both.
Battletoads was on
versions though.
No, they're exactly the same. Actually, I mean, graphically, they're the same basically.
Because like also there's like a lot, like Aladdin was a good game.
Yeah.
Like Mortal Kombat. Like.
But here's the thing though, Aladdin, it's not a Multiplat because the Aladdin on Genesis and Super Nintendo were completely different games.
Yep,
you know?
and made by different studios.
Yeah, made by different studios and everything, you know. And the funny thing is, Shinji Mikami, right? He worked on the Capcom one on Super Nintendo. Even he admits the one on Genesis is the better game. It's like they got a sword.
I only played the SNES one. Oh shit! Well, I need to go and play the fucking Genesis
one. The Genesis one is crazy.
Yeah, it's
really.
It's better. Fuck. It's way better.
Why didn't they want to tell me this?
Yo, man, that game is animated by a bunch of Disney animators.
Yeah, and also God. I don't know. I guess it's just a Nintendo thing. In Genesis, he had a sword.
Yeah.
On Nintendo, he can only throw apples.
That's what Shinji Mikami said. It's like, that game's better. Like, again, the game's producer said the other game is better just because of the fact he has a sword. You know?
Yeah, I need to go play the Genesis one then.
Go ahead, Brett.
I got one. Cyborg Justice.
Oh, wow.
I know that one.
I don't even remember that game.
That game was awesome. You literally played as a robot where you could like saw off pieces of other robots and then bolt them on yourself and upgrade yourself as you walk.
Wasn't that a Sega CD game, Cyborg Justice?
No, it was a Genesis game.
I could have sworn it was. I
mean, I like Golden Axe.
Oh my motherfucking god, man! Golden Axe. Obviously, Ultra Beast. Roar from your world.
I got that. Genesis had a lot of good games.
It did, man. Genesis was fucking awesome.
Was Vector Man on Genesis?
Oh yeah,
Vector Man.
Vector Man 1 and 2.
Vector Man. That was my shit right there.
Yeah.
Did they have a better X-Men too?
Capcom had a really good X-Men game on there, but Capcom had a really good X-Men on the.
The Genesis X-Men was excellent, man. Yin Yang says Ristar or Rystar. I never knew how to pronounce that one. Rystar. I never really liked that game, but I liked the way it looked. It looked really nice.
With the little star? Yeah.
Little star dude, yeah. Stashua says Pit Fighter.
You could say Rocket Knight Adventure.
Yeah. Multiplat Yin Yang, but Street Fighter 2 on Genesis was actually really good. I was actually playing that the other night. It feels the way it's supposed to, you know. But those sound effects, though, boy, man, those voices sounded crunchy. Man. Go well.
You know what I really speaking of Street Fighter, man, I love, as horrible as the voices sound in Street Fighter 1, I love them. You know, I wish you good luck.
All right, let's move on here. Mr. Bryce Douglas. So he wants to know, what's each of you guys' favorite comics that you've ever read? He goes, I finally got around to Jonathan Hickman's Avengers run. So we could say runs and graphic novels or whatever. Okay, perfect. Go ahead, guys. I release the go.
Big Man Plan. That was awesome. An image is about this little midget who wound up fighting in World War II. That was pretty crazy. And he came back and gets abused and does this whole comeback fight story to regain his life because he's seen as like this hobo and shit. It's fucking nuts. Because he was sent into the foxholes and stuff that normal sized people couldn't get in. And he had a lot of issues.
Yo, by the way, we've actually answered this question before, and I find it funny because one of the times we were asked this question, Riku was here. I remember, Riku, your answer was a Sonic comic.
Yeah, baby. That is my favorite. I mean, looking back on it now, with hindsight, maybe I need to read more comics. I was actually digging around in some Batman Beyond comics. I was trying to dig around in that. Maybe you guys can help me find some good Batman Beyond comics.
Yeah. Rich, what about you? Mr.
Sorry.
Bailey. All right, there you are.
You got to repeat that question.
Okay, what is your favorite comic book that you've read?
Oh, okay. Spawn, still to this day. I don't know what's going on. I heard the rumors of a new movie getting made, but I don't like how that movie sounds. So we'll see.
Do they got The Rock in it?
No. Right,
I believe they got Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Jamie Foxx. I mean, he's a good actor, but I don't see him as Spawn though.
He's gonna be like, yeah, I'm Spawn.
Well, you're not gonna see much of him. You're not gonna see much of him because it's always Spawn. It's all CG. So.
Give me money.
wait. Jamie Foxx, wasn't he Electro?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why are they putting? Anyway,
this is how Hollywood thinks. Hey, he was in a superhero movie. Let's get him in this superhero.
You know
movie.
what it
That's
was?
literally what they think.
You know what it? You know what else it was? It's like, yo, man. You know who should have played Spawn? That was fucking Wesley Snipes' role.
Oh my god, that would have been really. He would have been great for that.
I'm sorry. The only thing is that it's the problem is that Wesley Snipes was probably the most badass black actor in existence. So you could see him as every single black superhero character. Come on, he was in the line to play the Black Panther before he played Blade or after he played Blade.
I don't know if I can say that one Chappelle skit on air where I get in trouble. Remember the Charlie Murphy episode? It's like, this is before Wesley Snipes. We was the blackest guys in Hollywood. Oh man!
I mean, like you know, I mean, I would have watched anything he with that dude in it.
Wesley Snipes is still fucking awesome, man.
Yeah.
Follow him on Twitter too. Great fucking account, man.
Yeah, he's got a fun account.
Yo, by the way, I love it because when Black Panther was announced, people were like, "Oh my, we're finally getting a black superhero, man." Wesley Snipes like, "Really?" He posted a picture of himself.
Really?
Wesley Snipes is the shit, man. I love that dude. Passenger 57, man. Oh my god.
Damn, the last time I saw him in a movie was The Expendables, and they even brought out, like, where you been? Prison for what? Tax evasion.
Yo,
yeah, he did say that in the movie.
Yeah, he said it. He was like, "Oh, really? You joking?" No, I'm not joking. He's like, "Oh, all right, well, whatever."
I keep forgetting his fucking name. In Demolition Man, what was his name again? He had
Simon Phoenix.
Yeah, he was fucking awesome. They even have a Dead or Alive guy that looks like him. You know? Yeah, Simon Phoenix, man. Wesley Snipes, man. Respect. I heard the rumor is that he's talking to Marvel about something Blade related. Bring that motherfucker back.
Come on, man.
Do it.
Call up Guillermo del Toro to do the fucking Blade to do another Blade movie.
Yeah, Sasha, you already know Murder at 1600, man. Always bet on black. Wesley Snipes is the fucking man, dude.
Yeah, he was cool. I mean, that's the thing. People are like, "Oh, he fell off." No, he went to jail.
Man. Yeah, he went to jail, son.
He was still doing movies before that.
Come on, man. New Jack City.
Yeah, man.
Michael Jackson's Bad. Remember that shit? That's where he like first premiered. You know. All right, man. What's the fucking? Oh yeah, comic books.
Comic book. We just totally got a
comic book. Comics. Yo, I like a lot.
Comic books.
Yeah.
Huh?
I don't even read comics. I never heard of comic books.
I mean, there's so many. I mean,
I'm just gonna pick one. The X-Men run, Chris Claremont and fucking John Byrne, classic, man.
Mm-hmm. Dark Phoenix and all that stuff, right?
All of that, man, fantastic. You know,
I'm gonna
even the
say
stuff with Dave Cockrum that we know was good too. Anyway, go ahead, Manny.
I'm gonna say Daredevil, Born Again. And also Daredevil year one. Well, and it's not called year one, but yeah, that one too.
Also, shout out to
the Man Without Fear. Sorry,
shout out to Bendis's fucking run on Daredevil. That's still his best work. I don't give a fuck. You know. All right, Chris, favorite comic or comics?
I'd say Batman Nightfall. It's up there for me.
That's a good one.
No Man's Land. That was a great story. No Man's Land. I like a lot of the Elseworld stuff too. Red Rain and Bloodstorm was two great stories there in Batman. Thrill Killer was good. And let me see what else. I mean, those pretty much for me stand out as really great stories.
All right, Brett.
Lock and Key by Joe Hill, and
That was a good one. Lock and Key was a good one. Good series.
so that's it.
Tank Girl.
Well, I mean, yeah, absolutely Tank Girl. I mean, if we're talking about multiple ones, but I still think Lock and Key comes in first for me.
Tank Girl's rolling in her grave. I'm
Never.
12 Lori Petty.
No, she's actually on Orange is the New Black. She's a crazy lady.
Like she really is.
Yeah.
Bryce says, "Oh, okay, yeah, I remember this one. I have this. I haven't read it yet. The Sword. I remember. Yeah, The Sword and Girls by the Luna Brothers. Shout out to the Luna Brothers, man. All right. Oh, also Invincible. You know that came to an end. Great fucking
Invincible was
series.
good.
Oh, that was a good book. Yeah.
Nail Biters, that came to an end. That was a good one. It was
I
about all
read the
these serial
first.
killers.
Yeah, I read the
read that
first one. That was good. You know.
Yeah, Nail Biters is good. I
Josh,
have that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Nothing.
No, I was gonna say you have it, right? Oh, actually, Adam, we got to talk afterwards if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was like that.
Yeah, you know. Brian and Carlos, do you guys even read comics? I don't think you did because we got asked this before.
Yeah, I don't really read comics. I mean, I read like Watchmen. It was pretty good, but
Carlos, like, yo, man, I read Japanese comics.
I read the mangas.
You mean Japanese comics?
I've read like some of the Hulk, but I don't remember whose run that was. It was the stuff involving the Red Hulk. I thought that was pretty cool.
So that was Ed McGuinness, right?
The art was crazy on that. Yeah.
Ed McGuinness did that.
Yeah.
The Red Hulk.
I wasn't too happy with that story, but the art was fucking nuts.
The Lee Weeks run, I thought was
That
a
was
lot
really
better.
good. Yeah.
The one before, the one a little bit before that stuff.
Yeah, for me, my favorite Hulk run is the Peter David one. He was on that shit for like a decade, man. That was good with like Joe Fixit and stuff. That was really good.
Right, and he did good alternate stories too. He did Future Imperfect.
Oh,
Maestro.
man.
Maestro was Peter David.
That shit was crazy, man. Yeah, Peter David fell off. Let's just be honest. A lot of these great guys fell off.
Soul stories were good, man.
Yeah, they were great, man. A lot of these guys, even Mark Waid, he questionable nowadays, but back in the day, Kingdom Come, forget about it, All right, where the fuck are we right now? All right, next up, Mr. Juan Subgata. All right, so this is a fun one. What was the first game you ever imported?
Ooh, I think it's funny. I don't think I've really imported any sort of games at all. But Tony, you.
Yeah, not as much as our boy Evil Chris, but I imported my share. I imported, the first one was X-Men vs. Street Fighter, which I fucking loved. I got one of the Darkstalker games. I think one of the Virtua Fighters, but yeah, the first one was X-Men vs. Street Fighter. I needed to have that because it never came out to America, and that's still, man, it may be my favorite Sega Saturn game. I love that shit.
Or Fighters Mega Mix that you also got that. That was also an import you got.
Yeah, that's another one, because actually no, Fighters Mega Mix came out in America.
It did, but it was missing shit. One, I remember you had the Japanese one, or someone had the Japanese.
No, it wasn't me. I think it was Chris that had that. But yeah, yeah. So the first one, X-Men Street Fighter. Ultimate Chris, what's your answer?
The first game I imported, shit. I remember I bought one of the old Dragon Ball Z fighting games for SNES and played with my cousin. I think it was it wasn't Ultimate Battle 22. That was on PlayStation. I imported that also, but that wasn't the first. I had a Super Nintendo one, and I don't remember the name of it. But it was a 2D fighting game. It was terrible, by the way. I mean, nothing was like Street Fighter, right? I just bought the shit because it was Dragon Ball, and I thought it was going to be like Street Fighter, and I was wrong.
Most of those Dragon Ball Z games from back in the day were shit. They were crap.
Yeah, they were horrible.
It was bad. And Ultimate Battle 22, I bought that on for PS1, and I had the Pro Action Replay with the spring. You do the spring trick to swap the disc, and I played that. That one wasn't very good either. I just bought it because it was Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball. I had that same.
I played Ultimate Battle 22 also. That shit was booty butt cheek of lettuce. My turn. First game that Riku-san one imported was actually the game that I was talking to Torrance about, and he got me on Shut the Fuck Up and Play as the Japanese department, quote unquote. Gundam Extreme versus my third favorite game on PlayStation 3 cost me $125.
Damn, that's real import shit right there, man.
Yeah, and that shit was motherfucking worth it. Cause like I said, third favorite game last generation. Awesome. That's one of the best Gundam games of all time. I leave it there.
Yeah. By the way, just insider stuff for you guys. When Riku was on and he was like the Japanese correspondent, I got hyped. I'm like, yo, and I started asking about all these JRPGs. Like, I don't play those. I'm like, what the fuck? How you a Japanese correspondent then? You don't play JRPGs, bruh? And look at you now, man.
Yeah, I know, right? How many times have you told that story? It's like 6 times.
Yeah, man. That shit is funny because it's hilarious to me.
It confused us all.
Yeah, I don't play those type of Japanese games.
Yeah, we named like a bunch of Japanese genres. Like, I don't play that, I don't play that, I don't play that. It's like, what the fuck do you play then?
Them hack and slashes, man. And you're like, oh, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, right? Get the trash out of here.
Shut the fuck up and play.
Shut the fuck up and play the real games. Nah, I play them all now. I mean, I'm going back, man. I'm about to start Final Fantasy VIII once I get this Spider-Man Platinum. We gonna see how that turns out, man. A hell of niggas mad at me. They let's skip that shit. Go to 9.
No, but you gotta go through it, man. You gotta go through all that.
I know. I'm not gonna skip it, man, because a lot of people want me to, man.
No, don't do it.
A lot of people want me to.
And Riku, I don't like Final Fantasy VIII. I'm telling you, play it. You know, you gotta do it.
I went in, man, and they started explaining Junction. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Just skip that and play Xenogears.
Riku got that on the list. He got that on the list.
Yeah, I do have it on the list, and I was saving it for like you know the whole thing, save the best for last. I have a few of the final PS1 games like at the back there. Like I was so close to turning off Final Fantasy VIII and turning on Chrono Cross. So close. But we doing this, man.
You beat Trigger, right?
Yeah, Chrono Trigger is awesome. It's my third favorite turn-based RPG game now.
Damn. Chrono Trigger. The old commercials.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger is awesome. Lived up to the hype.
Nice. Brett, import games.
Really don't have any.
I'm kind of surprised by that.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day when I was really interested in that stuff, they were either really hard to get or the US version of the system wouldn't play those games.
Yeah, you needed a workaround, you know?
Yeah, and I generally didn't have access to that kind of stuff, so it really never became a huge thing for me, and it's not been until the last few years when you can just, pop on to the Japanese PlayStation account, download something with full language support, and then pop it back onto your, pop your PlayStation back over to English and play it. That's a fairly recent development. So sorry to be boring, but I don't really have one.
Yeah. You have failed.
I will go commit seppuku.
You have failed, Sakurai. I mean, sorry.
All right, Adam. What about you, man?
Import?
Yeah, man.
I only did one, and that was wrestling. It was for N64. I think was it NWO or no, it was WrestleMania, Wrestle something 2000. Shit, I forgot the name, but it had all the Japanese wrestlers, plus it had a bunch of other wrestlers that were in WWE at the WWF at the time.
Didn't you?
I had to get a converter box for it. I had to get this little attachment for my N64 so he could play it.
Didn't you also get like the Fire Pro game, the one that had everybody in it?
Well, yeah, those. Yeah, I got those. That was on the Dreamcast, but I didn't. I mean, I got it through my way. I mean, I actually have to.
You got to do it your way.
Yeah, I actually had to get the cartridge for the N64 one, and I had to get it was like $100 for this attachment piece for my N64 just so I could play that one game. It was awesome. It was like our version of No Mercy, just had like all these other Japanese, wrestlers in there and stuff. It was cool.
Rich, you ever imported any games?
Well, yeah, actually, you already mentioned the game I imported, X-Men versus Street Fighter for the Sega Saturn.
Oh, shit, my man.
Oh, yeah, that was the first game that I imported. Yeah, I believe a lot of the other ones, I didn't need to import them. But, yeah, I do remember that specifically because I know that was the one item I kept telling my parents, hey, I need to get this game. Kept telling them over and over again, and eventually I was able to get it. But, yeah. Awesome game.
Yeah, did you get the action replay card? Because remember, you needed that cartridge in order to play the game. I remember with us, because when I first got it, the action replay cartridge didn't exist yet, or wasn't available. So what I had to do was I had to put one cartridge that allowed you to play imported games, right? And then as soon as the game goes into black, take that cartridge out and stick in the 4 megabyte cartridge. I had to do it really, really fast, you know. But I got ill with it eventually. But then with the action replay cart, it both allowed you to play import games and was 4 megabytes, so it was perfect. But yeah, I remember the whole thing was like, you know,
yeah, you were really good at it.
Yeah, you had to scale. This is shit you had to do back in the day when you were a gamer, man.
Yeah. There was something called region locking back in those days.
Yep.
They don't really have region locking anymore, do they?
No, not even Nintendo does it anymore.
That's crazy, man. Okay,
like, you know, come on, guys.
Yeah. Okay, this will be the last question of the night. Okay, from Barry Byrne. He goes, what is the best and worst convention you have ever attended? Choose a specific year, since I'm sure E3 will come up a lot. Okay. I'm glad you were specific
Can I
about
go first?
that. Go ahead, bro.
I've never been to a gaming convention.
You ever been to any convention? He didn't say gaming. He said convention.
Oh.
He said convention.
Convention. I went to no, I don't know. I don't think I've been to a convention. Nope.
Damn, they don't got them in Texas, bro?
They probably do, but it's like Mexicans don't do that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to get do that shit. What are you talking about?
No, I could
conventions.
Yeah, wait imagine all those Mexicans in one room. Something's about to pop off, man. Oh god! But then we have a bunch of Mexicans at our conventions in New York. Nothing happens,
yeah,
you know.
Well, yeah, but because you guys have like marquee conventions like Comic-Con and fucking PAX and shit like that.
Yeah, but PAX is here. PAX is in San Antonio.
Yeah, well, but no, where I live,
Oh, so it's got to be in your town.
Yo, they got fucking churro con and shit.
We might have a salsa fucking contest. This is as much as we'll do.
All right, Rich, man, what's the best convention you ever attended? It could be gaming, it could be whatever.
Did you say best and worst, or is it just the
best and worst? Yeah, best and worst.
Okay, the worst convention, without a doubt. No disrespect. E3 2017.
Oh,
because they did not have this thing organized with the public. So
yeah, you're right. You are right about that one.
Yeah, I think that absolutely has to be at the top of the list. As for the best, well, this is going to be tough. For me, if it's possible, I would say it's a tie between GDC. GDC 2017. That was my first GDC. Really good conference. Get to meet a lot of different developers offsite at the hotels, and then also in the convention too. But then the other one is by far PAX West 2017. That was the first time I went to Seattle. The first time I got a chance to go to PAX, and PAX West is 20 times better than PAX East. I can confirm that. So yeah. Those would be my picks.
All right, Manny, what about you?
Worst convention I have to say that I've ever gone to was probably Wizard World Philly from maybe 2012, I want to say. If you run the convention circuits like I do, because I do a lot of a lot of artwork and do signings and do those sorts of conventions and stuff like that. The Wizard World batch of shows are not really very good for artists, because those shows are they're just kind of more entertainment based. So that year, in fact, their artist alley was totally empty, and what they started doing was they started inviting a bunch of people to fill the space in. But that show, granted, I didn't pay any money to actually get the spot, but it was just, I didn't really make a decent amount of money. There wasn't a lot of traffic, coming to our table, so it was pretty disappointing. Best show. Let's see. You know what? I'm gonna say the early New York Comic Cons before they started going nuts. You know what I mean? Like where before they were the biggest comic convention in the country, where you could still walk around and not have to like bump through 1,000 people in your way. We could actually see things, you know.
Yeah, for me, the worst was the very, very, very first Comic Con. I don't know what year that was. That was a fucking mess, dude. Like, man, you remember that year? Like,
yeah, that was the year. That was the year that they had to turn people away because of fire. Because the fire marshal was turning people away because they overreached the amount of saturation of people.
yeah, they only used like a small portion of the Jacob Javits Center. They weren't using the whole thing. As a matter of fact, those first like 2-3 years of Comic Con were really fucking bad.
When
like,
they got their shit together, and it was still bearable to get through. I thought those were better.
Yeah, and that leads into the best. Like, those years before it got really commercial, but once they got their shit together, when, you know, it was me, you, Chris, and Kristen, and all our other friends going at the same time, and that was fun. I know you want a specific year, but it was a good 2 or 3 years where it was just like, you leave Comic-Con, you're like, I want to go back. This show was so much fun, you know? But yeah, it's kind of funny. Comic-Con, the worst experience, also the best experience. E3, I can't really say because I'm working. It's a totally different thing, you know?
It's hard to enjoy that one, you know?
Yeah, you can't. You know, like, I'm there, I'm in work mode, you know? So, but for Comic-Con, just pure fun, dicking around. I'm thinking about now, man, that was some good memories we had, man. Shit. Comic Con nowadays, I'm like, I just go there, do whatever my appointment is, and leave. I don't even bother anymore. You know,
yeah, I barely see you now,
which is sad, but it's like I got nothing to do here. You know. All right, Chris, what's your best and worst cons?
I was gonna say the best was the last E3 I went to, mostly because like the experience with you guys and seeing everyone there.
Yeah, that was a good year.
Yeah, you know, even working it, like it was still fun, and you get to see all this content, and you got to network with people, so it's enjoyable. And I was gonna say the worst one was whatever year, like not just the first New York Comic Con, but whenever they moved it to February, and you're outside freezing your ass off.
That was not fun, man.
Yo, okay, and then they couldn't get guests back because it was such an odd month that everybody's filming. Like they can't get Walking Dead back or any, you know, or people back because they're in the middle of filming shit. So they couldn't get good guests. You're outside freezing, and then they decided to switch to this fucking like because people are bootlegging badges. They switched to that digital system that they had to scan. That shit wasn't working. I was outside for 15 minutes. They're like running me under iPads and shit. I'm trying to get in. Like that was horrible, man. It's freezing. That sucked.
Yeah. By the way, quick story. That E3, the last one you went to, that was the year where they had like 3 and 4 hour lines for Breath of the Wild, right? But Chris, the fucking pimp, he goes up to him because he used to work for Nintendo, gets in there in 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, man. I don't think JJ was so happy about that. Yeah, because I found people I knew, right? They gave me a tour. They brought me in the back, you know, that exclusive area. So I got a tour, and I saw a bunch of other people I work with. It's like, yo, you want to play Breath of the Wild? I'm like, yeah. They just stuck me in the line. They just put me. They're like, yo, this guy's going in here. I'm like, oh, sweet.
Hey, nepotism is a good thing sometimes. Oh man, all right. Riku, man, have you ever attended any conventions?
One convention, and that was the only convention I went with, and it was to see your boy Torrance Davis, who was on episode 200 of the Throwdown. Go watch it. And Sean Shaw, when he first saw me, he was like, "Hey, who's this pretty boy?" And I was like, "Huh?" But that was at Dragon Con, 2013 September. It was a very good time. Torrance, you know, we walked around the city. We went into some clubs, saw some Atlanta bitches shaking the booty, and a whole bunch of cosplays and whatnot. But I want to go to some more. I would like to go to some more.
Yo, we need to go to Anime Expo, man.
Yeah. Everyone talking about this MomoCon and shit. We'll see what's going on with all of that. We'll see.
All right, Brian, what about you?
I guess the best one I've been to was when I went to Eurogamer Expo, because I got to meet some of the staff for Warframe, so that was quite cool. The chick that does the community management, Rebecca, she is mad small. Like she's like 5 foot -5, honestly. Yeah, and I don't really have a worse one. I just have ones that just weren't all that exciting. So I can't really answer it, but I guess it was the first Comic-Con London I went to because it just was a bit meh. But then the one afterwards, I went with our boy Gary Swaby, so that was a lot more fun. That guy is mad tall. Seriously.
Yes. Yeah, Gary's tall, man. And the thing is, like I said, since he's so skinny, he looks even taller than he actually is. You know?
Yeah, and I could have sworn that the guy was like the same age as me, but then I found out that he's like 32 or something. I'm just like, how?
Gary looks young as
younger than me. Like, fuck.
He's black don't crack. That's the way. That's it.
Brian's black cracks apparently.
Brian, how tall are you?
I'm about 5'10", 5'11".
Okay, that's my height.
Guy's like what, like 6'4" maybe.
Shit.
He is tall. Like
that's Manny's height. Manny, what? You're 6'3"?
No, I'm 6'2". Chris is actually taller than I am.
That's bullshit.
No, he is. He is.
What?
He's taller than me.
Does he hunch? I feel like you've been tall. I don't know.
No,
the hunch over.
I just remember.
Man.
That's right. You know what? I think you are. I remember one time I saw your car. You had some car. I was like, how does he fit in this car?
It must have been the Acura. Was it the Acura?
My TSX. Yeah,
it was something with your seat. You did some adjustments.
This is the only vehicle I could afford. Should I then be the subject of ridicule? Remember that from The Simpsons? This tall motherfucker in his little ass car.
Yeah, right.
Oh man. All right, Brett, best and worst cons. Mr. Murdoch. He's probably muted right now. Trying to figure it out.
Yep, you called it.
There he is.
Let's see. Best would be Comic-Con or San Diego Comic-Con 2012. Rachel and I got in to see a community panel, followed by a Legend of Korra panel, followed by the Firefly 10-year anniversary panel, and that was an awesome fucking day. Oh, and then we went. We had managed to score pretty exclusive tickets actually to a Metalocalypse concert on a aircraft carrier where they helicoptered them in on a fleet of helicopters. So that was fucking sweet, and I pretty much couldn't top that. Also had some damn good Dutch pancakes that morning. Worst one was probably my local NakaCon, which is the anime con. It was bad. I mean, somebody please tell me that most anime cons aren't that bad, because I think this is only like the second one I've been to, but it was like a merch room about the size of a tennis court and a whole lot of stinky 17-year-olds.
I was about to ask you what the room smelled like.
Oh my god. And like I'm sorry, you guys, your cosplay is not on point. It is half-assed. Like, I really like the amount of people I saw in quasi Naruto cosplay. It was like, it was stupid. Normally I wouldn't get down on people for that, but like, that's like having a shitty Halloween costume. But man, like the Comic Cons, like their cosplay is on fucking point lately. Not just like, oh, that's a really good version, but like, holy shit, you're thinking like a suit, an automated suit face that opens up and the whole thing belches, steam and has lights coming off the whole thing. Like, yeah, all I'm saying is you should be able to make at least a convincing Goku costume.
You got dudes running in there like regular T-shirt that says "I'm Goku." It's like, come on, son, you got to try, man.
No, you see dudes in like orange sweatpants tucked into like with an orange shirt tucked in like a sash wrapped around him and like some weird cheesy like hair piece made out of like sprayed cotton balls and like spray painted orange. And like you're just like, dude, what the fuck? I realize you may not have the money, but Goku is not an expensive costume.
That's hilarious, man. I remember when New York Comic Con, you saw that evolution. That first couple of years, those cosplays were rough, boy, But eventually, they got their shit together as the show got itself together. But I kind of find bad cosplay's endearing in a weird way, if you know what I mean. It's like, at least you're trying. You know, it's like you want to say, God, you know, bless your heart. It's one of those deals. You know, oh man,
there are those ones, and then there are the ones below that you're like, you didn't really even try.
Yeah, you're like, oh come on, man. Like you'd be better off just running around with your underwear, you know? Fuck.
Yeah, like I can see the tinfoil that's made of, dude.
Yeah, what's going on, Life and Times podcast? Thank you for dropping by. We're about to wrap up. Oh man!
Hello and goodbye.
Exactly. Hey, but he's been playing Spider-Man, so that's a good thing, you know. But the game, don't play it though. It's fucking trash, man. They got fucking towers in it and shit. Circling around to the beginning, man.
I told Tony, I haven't encountered one puddle yet. The game is literally unplayable.
Fuck that trash, man. Fuck that trash game, man.
Does it rain? I haven't seen any.
Oh yeah, it rains. Yeah, it rains.
Okay.
Make it rain. Make it rain. Make it rain. It's, you know. By the way, like people have been posting so much of this shit on my timeline. Like every time I see these really gorgeous screenshots, I just want to reply with, I did do it once. I'm like, man, get that trash off my timeline. Downgraded bullshit. You know, it's like, come on, all that downgrade stuff, Puddlegate, all that just evaporated like a puddle in the sun.
It evaporated like a puddle.
You know, no one's talking about that shit anymore. And apparently, I guess we'll talk about this on Thursday. The game's the fastest selling PlayStation 4 exclusive in the UK this year, I believe. Which is, or is it of all time? Whatever it is, it's beating out.
Thanks to Brian.
Yeah, not Brian. Actually, you don't know Brian. Yeah. Brian bought like 50 of them copies, man. He don't know.
You said Marvel.
I actually bought like the PS4 Pro as well. What?
No. Oh shit! So yeah, Brian, quickly, what's going on with this, man?
Apparently, it's the fastest selling game this year, and keep in mind that it's UK based and purely based on digital copies. No, sorry, physical copies only. So they don't count any of the digitals, and yeah, so it beat out Far Cry, and apparently it like outsold God of War like twice as much in the same time frame. So.
Holy shit. I could see that because it's Spider-Man.
Yeah,
it's a superhero.
But the fun fact is that it's not the fastest selling superhero game of this generation. That still belongs to Arkham Asylum. No, sorry, Arkham Knight.
Yeah. Brian, here's my other question for you, man. How much has God of War sold?
No one knows yet because they don't tell us enough.
Question about that Arkham Knight. We're only taking PS4 sales into consideration, right?
I don't know.
No, it's for all of them, Riku.
Okay, well, I would say that's not fair, but I understand where you're coming from.
But it's still a classification. It's a superhero game.
Yeah, it is. So, but what about this best superhero game on PS4? Let's get those numbers.
What other superhero games are there on PS4?
I mean,
Infamous, yeah.
And Infamous Second Son was pretty trash, so.
Whoa!
Surprising.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Games is fighting. You know. Squirt fuck up, Brian Manjoma. Squirt fuck up, boy.
Hey,
Trigger.
Brian, you're right.
Oh, Riku, man,
I'm sorry. Now I'm chrono triggered.
Yeah, chrono trigger because it's a past. It's a past the incident. You know.
Jeez.
Yeah. Riku, you hear this shit, man? It's what I deal with, man.
Y'all crazy.
I'm sorry, but it was Riku. Like, come on.
By the way,
it was. I would say. Wait, in your opinion, which of the three Infamous is the best?
What?
2? I agree.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I mean, as an overall game, I agree with that. But as far as story, that's
I disagree with that.
as far as story, I would give that to Infamous 1.
Infamous
as far as
1
gameplay,
beats, ooh, yeah.
Yeah, Infamous 1 has the story. Infamous 2 has the gameplay, and Infamous Second Son, I say, is the best. I would say graphics, and I would say traversal gameplay too.
Oh yeah, the traversal crazy in that.
Yeah, you're not touching that the digital. I'm still like that's like right behind Spider-Man as like best traversal I've seen in a fictional sandbox video game.
Superhero.
I'd say Prototype had better traversal.
It was better, but it wasn't more fun.
Really? I had lots more fun.
Okay. No, I feel like here's the thing. I was at my prime when it came to platinuming games around Prototype, and I barely got through the story.
Yo, Riku, I got that platinum, and I didn't like that game.
Ugh, I'm sorry. I think I should have played Prototype.
That broke the camel's back for Tony.
I should have played Prototype before I played Infamous. Did you play Prototype before you played Infamous, Brian?
Yes, I still liked it.
Yeah, see, a lot of people I know that like Prototype played it before they played Infamous.
I played it before Infamous because I knew Infamous was a better game. So I was like, let me get the trash one out the way first, and I'll play the good one. You know?
Brian is a Prototype shooter?
Yeah, he loves Prototype. Do you think Prototype is better than Infamous Second Son, Brian Manjoma?
Prototype 1?
Any Prototype. Prototype 1 or 2.
Okay, what do you mean by better? Like, do I think
better,
it's
in your opinion.
Better. What do you like more?
Game.
What do you like
Graphics,
more?
gameplay, story, everything. Keep it real. This episode 200.
Let's go. Throw down, motherfuckers.
Throw down. Your answers.
Prototype.
Prototype. Man. All right, I see you.
And for one reason and one reason only, it fulfilled the power fantasy.
It fulfilled
and Infamous didn't.
It fulfilled
ever drop a tank. What the hell else do you want? Like, okay, that's cool. Okay, I have a tank. Let's fuck it up. Okay, I need A. Shoot some shit.
Hulk Ultimate Destruction did it better.
I will drop it.
Yeah, I agree.
But we weren't asking about those two games. We're asking about these two games.
That is true. But you said what would you want more? I would like to be the Hulk, motherfucker. No, but I see where you're coming from.
And Prototype gave you that. Infamous was a very controlled version of it, which was fine. Again, don't get me wrong, it was fine. But in terms of just outright like outlandishness, Prototype won.
Okay.
I can't disagree with that.
I respect your opinion, but I don't like it.
Whoa, we're fighting.
Right.
Oh man! All right, so let's wrap it up. I want to thank Richard and Riku for being on. Rich, man, tell people what's going on with the coalition, man. Mr. Bailey.
Sorry about that. Something was up my headset. It's resolved now. It's fine.
Yeah, is it that bullshit Sony headset, man?
Oh no, this is another headset. You know, I got to get another Sony headset since that one has been destroyed. So. Yeah, I do have a review for Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which will be on the website later today. I was going to say tomorrow morning. It's already 1 a.m., so in about a couple hours, actually. So stay tuned for that. We have quite a bit of other things in the works as well. So a couple surprises I can't really talk about, but just stay tuned to the website this week. We got a lot of things coming.
That's what's up. And Riku, man. Plug whatever you want to plug, man. Even if it's shit you didn't make.
Hey, whoa! I don't be doing that over here. At RikuSun1 on Twitter. Follow your boy. I might be holding a poll. I don't know about this Final Fantasy VIII, man. At least not right now. We gonna see, man. I might have to throw up Chrono Cross, Xenogears. What's the game? Legend of Mana, and then Final Fantasy VIII. See what goes down there. Or I could just move over to Kingdom Hearts 2. Because you remember, I said I was going to hop back into Kingdom Hearts 2 and start streaming that, if you guys want.
Yeah, man. But you gotta listen. You don't want Final Fantasy VIII to be your bottleneck. Get to that shit so you can get to the better stuff. You know
that is true. You're damn right.
Yeah. We'll answer this quick question. Anyone watch the TGS PlayStation conference? What do you mean Tokyo Game Show? What?
Wait, when did Tokyo Game Show happen?
What happened this weekend with Square Enix? Remember the VP guy, the COO guy.
I thought that show was at the end of the month. What the fuck are you talking about? Nah, son, you
I saw something about it today, and I was like,
Is it still ongoing or is it over?
Is TGS going on right now? Who's saying, hold up? Are you telling me TGS is going on right now? We don't know about this shit. Wow, yeah. Throwdown on top of all the news.
No,
TGS
starts on the 19th.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like the end of the month. What are you talking about?
So what were they? I guess they're talking about because the dude died over the weekend. He was there.
Who died?
Who died?
The COO, the Square Enix COO.
What?
For the U.S. and Europe died unexpectedly. That was the big news this weekend.
I never even heard of that either. Respects then if that's the case. But yeah, but he goes, anybody watch the TGS PlayStation conference tonight? What?
Yeah, look.
He says it's a Sony conference
tonight.
Okay, I understand Sony does a conference early, but 2 weeks early, my dude? Shit. Yo, Rich, could you imagine that shit? Sony does a conference 2 weeks before E3? Yo, that's crazy.
Well, the only thing I know is that I know Kojima is supposed to have a Death Stranding presentation at TGS, so that better not be a disappointment.
Man, yo, I got a little bit of heat of that on Twitter from her, I should say, because I said I saw the news articles. So I wrote, are we gonna see actual gameplay? Motherfuckers say that was gameplay. That was gameplay. I'm like, it's in game. I give you that. It's not gameplay. No, it is gameplay. In game graphics pieces gameplay. I'm like, no, it doesn't, man.
I put it in chat.
So yeah, so I had to deal with that nonsense. Like, listen, y'all know I'm hyped. Yeah, I'm hyped, but I'm at the point I'm like, I need to see some fucking gameplay now. Not these like pseudo artistic things. Like, give me some fucking. I want to see it. I want to see the HUD and all the other stuff. Guy controlling it. You know, like that. I want to see Kojima on stage.
I want to see the HUD, motherfucker.
Yeah, like I want
What
to
if
see.
the game has no HUD?
Even that, I want to see Kojima on that stage with a controller. Somebody, you know, whoever has produced, somebody from that fucking team controlling it. You know. Like it's
like, man, get Kenny Mazumi to control that shit on the stage.
Takaya
ready.
You know,
Takaya couldn't.
All right, man, let's wrap this motherfucker up, man.
Summer's in.
Again, thank you guys for being on episode 200, man. Make this a special episode, man. Good shit. And Sony, what the fuck? Really, a conference tonight? 2 weeks? 2 weeks? Come on, man. Bullshit.
We are going to announce something amazing.
Yeah, right. All right, man. So thank you for watching and listening. Leave us the questions in the comment section of this episode here on YouTube or over on the Coalition, and we'll answer them on next week's show. And we will get to your other, because again, you guys, I told you guys don't ask us questions this week. You asked us for fucking questions, so we'll get to those in due time. You know, we'll sprinkle them in there whenever we can. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and the YouTubes. Follow us on Twitch, Mixer, Twitter, Periscope, and Facebook at Throwdown Show. Links are located in the description below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco. I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you later, guys.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, I got to give a quick shout out to the Platform podcast. I was on there yesterday talking about Spider-Man. So I just want to thank those guys for inviting me on. It was a great conversation. And say take care to everyone.
Nice.
Carlos Romero.
Happy birthday, Adam.
Thank you.
Adam Vale.
Have a good week, people, and hug your loved ones.
Brett Murdoch.
Take care, everybody.
Brian Manjoma.
Infamous Second Son is the worst Infamous game out there.
This motherfucker, I'm gonna kick him off the fucking podcast right now, son.
Damn!
Yo, Richard Bailey Jr.
Spider-Man is the best PS4 exclusive of 2018. I'm calling it now.
That is a straight up lie.
Everybody's getting Chrono Trigger tonight, baby.
Hate.
Riku, did you remember you're gonna mention if it was your game of the year? Are you gonna announce that on your outro?
Yeah, well, you know what?
Let's get to the outros.
Oh,
Riku's son won, the only one.
Hey man, I just got that Spider-Man Platinum just now. Let's fucking go. Is it my game of the year? Firstly, let's talk about what was my game of the year.
Yo, this is gonna be the longest outro, man.
Monster Hunter was previously my game of the year, and then God of War topped that. But does it beat God of War? Yes, it does. It is my game. Let's go.
Oh shit, there it is, man. And you know what?
Spider Gauntlet has your throne.
Yes. And you know what? Just to piss Adam off, that's my game of the year now.
Hey, but that's what I'm saying. Why you gotta piss me off? It's not pissing me off.
I've never heard that. It's my game of the year out of spite.
We all need to vote a game of the year so we can say it's Throwdown's game of the year.
That could be your game of the year. That's not my game of the year.
Yo, Adam's game of the year is still Wildlands. You know?
My game of the year. My Division is still my game of the year. That wins every year.
Jesus.
And then 2's gonna screw it up for me.
He's like an Ubi cock, son.
Nah, Adam, you're gonna play the fuck out of that game. You're gonna love it.
I will play it. I don't know if I will love it.
You will. Just like you remember, you felt the same way about the Division. Like, I don't know about this game, man.
No.
You felt the way about Wildlands.
I knew Division was gonna be hot. Remember, I was trying to convince you to do it.
How do you unlock the map in Division? I forget.
I mean, the world is already there. You don't do anything. You just roam there. There's no
no
tower.
tower.
You can't do that in Spider-Man, right? You're only cording off to one block until you unlock more. Anyway, man, we'll see y'all on Thursday.
There's no
man.
towers. No towers in the division.
Yeah,
right. Ubisoft know how to make games.
We got towers and dragons, bro. Dragons and towers. Let's go.
Yeah, happy birthday to everybody, man.
Happy birthday.
Peace out.
Happy birthday, Adam.
Peace.
Peace.
Later, guys.